The 2 Cent Report!
Good morning, good evening, and good night. I don't remember if that is what Jim Carrey's character said in... It was something similar to that. Anyway, hello. This is the 2 Cent Report with two people. One of them is called Justin, aka the first cent. And also...
the second cent, Tristan.
Yes, because he is inferior to me.
Well, technically that would make me more because with us combined, I add value to you and you add value to me.
Very true. And if we have 18 more of us, we can buy a chappie about 15 years ago.
That's an expensive chappie. We're talking about American currency here.
Okay, no, not American currency. Just our own beautiful currency that's named after a river, I think. Do you know?
I don't know if it was named after the river or the river was named after it.
No, I don't think it was.
Maybe it had a bad name. They just needed to give it a new name. Because, you know, there are some very funny names, especially when you're driving through the country. And you
Very
get
true.
to... Because it was this... I was driving from Johannesburg down to Cape Town. And this one place that just made me laugh. It's like... We get to the stop, and the stop is called Verkeerd de Vlei, which is the wrong marsh. Now, my thing is, people name these things because they're traveling. So
Yes.
they're probably like, if you're going to go south from here, you're going to get to the wrong marsh, okay? And then you're going to go further, and you're going to get, or maybe they were like, you want to go south and get to the marsh. And these idiots thought that they got to the marsh that they were talking about.
This is kind of similar to False Bay.
Yes.
False Bay is similar. It was the wrong bay. So they were like, you know what, we're just going to call it False Bay from now on, even though people fucking live here now. We're all wrong, Tristan, for living here.
No, of course. I mean,
God.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we get started?
So depressing.
I thought that we could start today with something genuinely fucking hilarious. Our old friend, Google Stadia.
Okay.
This isn't about new games that have come to the platform. This isn't about any real news, like proper news. However, they got something, Tristan. The service, which has been around for nearly 2 years, that has quite a number of games on it, has finally gotten a search bar.
Wait, isn't Stadia supposed to be cancelled, gone?
No, Stadia's still around. They're just not actively developing for it. Yeah.
So, you know, what's that? Outstriders?
Yes, Outriders.
Outriders, yes.
Yes.
That is Stadia compatible.
Yes, Stadia compatible, but it's not.
But you wouldn't know that because they didn't have a search bar.
Yeah, no. You would have to. I'm assuming. This is also my thing. Is it laid out like, say, a store that makes sense alphabetically, or is it like, you know, some stores like the Epic Games Store, which can be really confusing to navigate, where it can be based on a random thing? Do you have to like go down to O to find it, or do you just have to randomly be like, okay, well, here's Bulletstorm, and the one after that is the ABBA game, and now I need to find where the fuck O is.
Probably sitting next to the KFC game.
So yeah, I just thought this was funny because I'm like, didn't have a search bar.
Like, how did you?
Although to be fair, Epic didn't have a search bar until a few months ago.
Well, to be fair, both of them didn't have a lot of games on them.
Very true. It was the place to. Play
Epic took a little bit longer because that's no excuse because they've been releasing games.
Yeah.
Or just buying up games.
Yes.
To on the, or not buying up, but I would say influencing the publishers to release on them rather.
Yes. They've been spending a lot of money on that as well.
Mm.
As we spoke about last time, I think. Last time or time before that, they were hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
To get things on that platform. And no one is using it unless it's for Fortnite.
But it's almost like if you put money into it, it has to work. But they're not being smart about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Fix your launcher.
It drains battery.
And
It
internet.
makes everything slow. God, I hate it so much. And I can't make my own categories for the game.
It's just all there in your library.
Yes, alphabetically. And I'm like, I've gotten every single free Epic game because I'm a cheapskate. So it's a fuckload of games. I don't know how many games are on there, but they're all alphabetically, and I'm like, okay, let me just keep going down and down and down. I missed it.
But now they've got a search bar.
Now they've got a search bar. I know, right? It's a brand new feature that Steam hasn't ever had. Steam hasn't had this since, for like, they've had it for maybe 10,
the
15
entire
years.
time. But it reminds me of like a reverse of what the iPhone does, where it removes things and says that it's good.
Yeah.
So it's like, guys, we have a new invention. We're adding a search bar. And people are like, but they're already... No, but it didn't exist in our world.
It didn't.
No.
This is the Google world.
Yes.
Even though we have the most famous search bar.
The world's most famous search bar. Now that is hilarious. If you start with that, then maybe people would still be listening to us at this point. But
I know.
Shit. I think we got outro right there.
Just refer back to this.
We'll put a timestamp.
So, that's Google Stadia. That was just funny, so I thought, throw away. Okay, are you ready for the next thing?
Yes.
Now, this is actually not related to games that you already care about. It's the Ace Attorney games, which I've never played, but I've always kind of wanted to try one. But, I think they're often on Nintendo devices, so I just haven't played them. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what they're on. But like all gamers know the famous, it's become like a meme of, Ace Attorney. I was about to say Ace Ventura.
That's also a meme.
Doing that thing where you like points in the courtroom. But something that's just interesting, I already know this story, but I saw it and I was like, this is actually a funny story and I think most people should know about it. There is a character in it called Herlock Sholmes, obviously based on Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Now, this is actually something really, really funny. And this also became like a big news when a few months ago a movie called Enola Holmes came out on Netflix. And there was a whole thing with Arthur Conan Doyle's estate. Now, this is something quite funny. And I was only reminded of because basically a site happened to also tell the story. And I was like, I didn't even read the article. I was just like, oh yes, I remember this story. This is fucking funny. So, the reason it's called Herlock Sholmes is because Arthur Conan Doyle's estate is very, very litigious. They like suing people who misuse Sherlock Holmes. Thing is, Sherlock Holmes, most of the stories are in the public domain, so anyone can use it. The last few aren't in the public domain yet. Be like another 10 years or so, I think. So, one of the only problems is that only in the last few stories did Sherlock Holmes show emotion at all. And so whenever an adaptation shows Sherlock Holmes having emotion, they sue the people. So they were like, okay, well this character has emotions, and apparently Sherlock Holmes can't have emotions unless we pay licensing fees, so they just changed the name to Herlock Sholmes. And this was actually also, funny enough, done a long time ago. This wasn't, I don't think it's probably in this story, but Arsène Lupin, which is he was like a master thief character. He's like the image of the master thief, like wearing a hat and the, that kind of very, like has a cane, the very famous image of like a classic cat burglar. The person who wrote that, whose name I now cannot remember, French writer, decided to put Sherlock Holmes into the story, and Arthur Conan Doyle, who was alive at the time, did not much like this. And so he just changed the name to Herlock Sholmes and carried on writing.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say. But you mean to tell me that a game made for a certain platform that is known for suing the living shit out of anybody who mentions anything about them is skirting around being sued for essentially the same thing?
Yes, I suppose you might call it irony.
That's something. One of my favorite things about Nintendo is when they're like, what's your favorite Zelda song or Mario song on Twitter? Mm-hmm. And the people who follow Nintendo responded on Twitter with links to their favorite songs.
Okay, I know the story.
And then Twitter proceeded to block all of these links because Nintendo has a policy against them, or would sue them if they did it. So it's like, are you trying to troll yourself, Nintendo? Are you at that stage where you don't even realize that your laws are keeping you from interacting with your community?
A few years ago, this is old news now, but this was several years ago, Nintendo of America, because they have two branches. They have
Yes.
Nintendo of America and they have the Japanese branch, which is the main branch. Nintendo of America, knowing that streaming and YouTubers and all this kind of shit is free fucking advertising, were like, please stream our games. And then the Japanese one started copyright striking all of these people who Nintendo of America was like, yes, do it. So they don't even have internal consistency.
But it's just pathetic.
It is. Also, it is genuinely free advertising. People are willing to be like, I'm going to play this game and broadcast it and show people and say, you should play this game. That's fucking advertising.
No. But the thing is, Nintendo believes you can only have access to it if you purchase it. So, because a lot of people, I'm not one of them, but a lot of people associate watching a Let's Play with having played the game.
Yeah.
That's why some certain group of people have all these opinions about games that they've watched other people play.
Yeah.
And they say, oh no, it's not that great of a game, or I love this game. But have they ever played it for themselves? Like, one of the games I play is the Owl. The Owl is always fun to watch YouTubers watch. But it's not as fun to play it unless you're part of a community or a Discord or a team that is creative. The game's gameplay is not that fun. It's just survival. But what you do in that world is fun. So when you watch YouTubers or Twitch streamers play this game, it's always entertaining. They always have the sense of something is always happening and it's crazy. What they don't tell you is that most of the servers that these guys play on are their own servers, or if they do play on a public server, the moderators or admins of that server give them special tools. They'll give them the moderator menu so that they can age themselves up and they can do all these crazy things. And it's like, it's never as fun because they're being catered for. If there's a YouTuber on, most likely the server will notify the server and say, he wants to do this, can everybody play along? And what that means is they're going to get recognition from a YouTuber and everybody's going to know about their server and they're going to think that the server is the best server because it's so active and fun. But at the end, it's really just fake because they're providing the YouTuber with all these tools and access to things that a normal player wouldn't have. So that's why I also think that you have to play the game before you have anything to say about it.
Yeah, I can understand that. But I think, for instance, like that isn't the case with, say, Nintendo games.
Oh, no.
Like Nintendo games, you can just see what it looks like.
And know exactly.
Yeah. Like, for instance, I can look at literally any Mario game and go, it looks like a scaled-up version of Super Mario Brothers from 1986. Look, they added in 4 new enemies.
I think the weirdest one for me was Odyssey.
Mm.
Because it's like they literally ran out of ideas to keep Mario inside his own universe.
Shame. Poor Nintendo. I don't think that we will be considered a Nintendo fan cast.
No, of course not. I'm actually looking like if we ever get famous or get over 10 subscribers. Sorry, over 50 subscribers.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'm looking forward to a long, lengthy lawsuit from Nintendo.
You know, this is actually, but years ago when I was first getting to like podcasts before I slowly started cutting down the podcasts I was listening to because I was listening to trash. But basically, I had a podcast. It was the IGN podcast. You know IGN.
Yes.
So IGN podcast, and they have a podcast for Microsoft. They have a podcast for PlayStation. They have a podcast for Nintendo. They have a podcast just called Game Scoop, which is just about games in general. And I listened to all of them. And straight up, every single time, the Microsoft ones and the Sony ones, they were talking about games that could be played on the system. Not necessarily exclusives, just on the system. which means they were always talking about new games. The Nintendo one, every fucking week, they were just like, oh, we're playing another Mario, we're playing another Zelda, we're playing another Metroid. Literally, it's the same, and I eventually stopped listening to that completely because I was like, they don't release new games. They just don't release new games. These people get so fucking worked up when they're like Splatoon, because they're like, oh, they're making something new. And then they still get just as gushy about new Super Mario Brothers Bouncer's Castle 5 as they do about the fourth one.
I already told you about that. Yesterday, I was reminded of. I met up with the Nintendo fanboy that I know, and he only plays the Pokemons, and he'll buy all of them for that generation and play through all of them. Now, this is not saying, oh no, he plays them so that he can trade, and no, he doesn't mingle with other Nintendo players other than his wife, who he made into a Nintendo person. He plays the same game 3 times with different colors for the teams. 3 times. Just because he loves the game. And again, we've mentioned this before, hopefully, but it's essentially the same game, just there's one new feature in it. Now
you got a different legendary Pokemon.
Or just it was 8-bit, now it's 16-bit, yes. Or it was nicely rendered, or now it's now the camera angle, now there's a camera and the angles side, and now they're going with, apparently according to him, they're going with a Breath of the Wild style Pokemon where you run around the world. My thing is
doesn't that Pokemon Go? It can run around the world.
But that's running around the real world. My thing is this: how long has it taken them to get an MMO like that out?
People have been wanting that for 8. That's actually one thing which I think I might be like, if there was actually like a proper RPG style, like a big world, open world kind of thing, I'd be willing to, because I really enjoyed that one Pokemon game I played. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. And then, the other one was the same game, and then the other one was the same game, and then the other one was...
But you would only be able to play it
same
on
game.
Nintendo servers.
That's the problem.
And you would only be able to play it if you have their platform. I'm not going to say console, because to me it's not a console.
Or I play it in 15 years on an emulator.
Yeah, but then the servers will be... the whole point of an MMO.
True, but I'll play by myself because I'm a sad person.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to, because...
How dare you?
No, I'm saying that because if you get an emulator, right, and you play the game, it's going to need to connect to the server.
You see, okay, if it was an MMO, I don't think I'd care as much, but if it was, say, a single-player RPG, then I'd be like, cool.
But that's all keeping with they've never actually made a new game, because they're essentially going, that one IP we have, that famous one? Let's make the same game with using the different IP theme.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So after you're going to get Breath of the Wild, and you're going to get the Pokemon Breath of the Wild, and then, Mario's going to jump in there, and maybe, very maybe you might get Metroid that might think about it, go into development, cancel development, and then put it on the shelf for the rest of its existence.
Yeah, no, they won't think about Metroid. Even though, the Metroid Prime games are considered to be some of the best, console shooters of all time, they'll just be like, nah, let's not make those. Let's not do that, Rit. You know what we should do?
Make another male lead game?
Make another Mario. Mario.
The not Italian plumber.
Exactly. Also, wouldn't it be great if actually, because he has that it's a me, Mario. He's got that voice. Wouldn't it be great if he actually had a proper Boston? Get out of here!
You can't do it.
I can't do it. From Brooklyn. That gotta sound like Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. Brooklyn Rage! I'm imagining a much more violent form of Mario, where he's running around like a wrench, like the guy from Super, beating the shit out of this lizard guy, being, that's my woman. I think it's a better version of Mario. Anyway, should we proceed?
Yes.
So, the next thing that we have is something that's quite like just a nice little thing. So Rockstar randomly, okay, first of all, there's a whole weird thing that happened with Rockstar. All of their games got like delisted, and then all their games were undelisted, including games that had been previously delisted, and then they re-delisted those. It was very weird. I think it was a mistake. But then, the thing that actually stuck, so that was just a weird error. What actually happened was that they released Max Payne 3 and L.A. Noire. They released all the DLC for free, because those games are fucking old. So they were just like, yeah, people can just have the DLC for free. I'm like, that's just nice. It also, made a lot of news because people were like, why did everything that Rockstar made got delisted off of Steam?
It's kind of like, okay guys, don't look at that. What we want to focus on now is we got these free DLCs that you already own by now if you enjoyed those games.
Although, you know what? I do have Max Payne 3 and L.A. Noire. And I never had the DLCs. I didn't know that they were DLC. Although, L.A. Noire refused to work on my PC for some reason.
No, it's the same. Like, Nicole would always want to play it. She would see a video of it or a meme of it and she want to play it. Installs it, plays it for a while, and then all of a sudden she drops it. And I'm thinking to myself, but why? Oh, I couldn't get past this part. Oh no, it's just too difficult. Oh, it's bugged. But every single time, she would download the game and play it and get to that point, but oh yeah, it's bugged. I'm like, so why didn't you find a fix for it? Oh no, because, they should have updated the game. And my thing is this, do you know who has a fix for the game? Pirates.
That is very true. Although, one of the other things they did was that they also released an update to make it work on modern systems.
Good.
And for some reason, they also were like, they for some reason ditched 32-bit operating system support. So they removed the feature. So I guess anyone that still has 32-bit operating system.
No, fuck you.
Fuck you, I guess.
Yeah. What kind of gamer are you? Take your potato elsewhere.
But yeah, it's kind of weird to remove features. Why don't you just incorporate them both? You could like...
I think it has something to do with the next level where they want to go with their code, because to support or with the engine to support 32-bit, there's a whole it has to do with the RAM and the memory. So you don't want to include that feature if you now making games for 64-bit, and eventually it becomes like dead weight. Like why do we still need to keep on updating this code? There's no reason to. Every game we must include this. And yes, it would be nice, like a nice thing, but it's also like they get rid of it so that so the game industry can move forward. Like for a big part of there was a gap, a certain part where you didn't have physical saves. It was all down to checkpoint saves. You remember that? And some games still to this day do checkpoint saves. Some of them are still like manual save. And then like you brought up in your San Andreas video, some games force you to go to a specific place to save. Yes. And that's very rare nowadays to go to a specific place. Unless
it's like a Dark Souls-y type thing.
Yeah, but that's where it's used well because it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
Or what I watched with you, another video of yours, the Carrion video, where you actually had to go make your save points.
Yes, yeah.
So it's still being used. People think that it's gone, but it's still being used. But at the same time, it's more about how you want your game to be. Now I'm thinking about that old code and stuff. Maybe they realize that there's certain limitations that they can't take the game or the engine further if it's still holding old baggage. So get rid of it so we can improve our systems, and to tell the rest of the world, like, if you want to play better games or better quality or visual games, you shouldn't be running 32-bit.
But this kind of quite a while back, Disco Elysium announced that they added in a patch to their game which allowed for ultra low settings for people who had shitty PCs so they could still play it.
I had to do that with my dad. My dad wanted to play Skyrim. Now, my father loves Skyrim. He's loved it ever since it came out on Codex. But he's loved it. Obviously, now he got into Steam. I especially got him onto Steam and bought him Special Edition. And just so I could add some mods to it, because he couldn't play the... I didn't want to buy Oldrim because... No. At one point it was actually more expensive to buy Legendary Edition than Special Edition.
Weird.
So I was like, you know what? I just bought him Special Edition and I downloaded mods of Nexus because you couldn't find these mods on the Bethesda mod page thing, which I'm hoping Microsoft also overhauls. So what I'm trying to get here is I had to find mods to make the game ugly so that he could run it on his laptop. And I found mods to take out unnecessary assets. I found mods to decrease textures. I found mods to just straight up remove things that are not needed. Like entire weapons display in shops, gone. All the items that you'd see on the shop store, no, those all gone because his laptop couldn't render it.
It's just in a menu.
But this is a man that only last year when I bought him the game and we installed and he played it and I was like, no, why don't you fast travel here? Did he realize there's fast traveling in the game? So since this was last year, so since he's been playing the game since it released, he has been with the same character. He hasn't made a new save, new character since the game first released. This man has been playing one character. And he's the type of guy that will go into a place, collect everything, then go back to the shop and sell it, then go into the place and finish collecting everything. And then once he's collected everything, will he finish the quest inside that place? And then he would head out. And then he would walk down, but on his way back to go sell everything, he might find a new place, market, go, then come back, and he clears out the whole map. Obviously, I'm hoping now that I got him the mod to remove shit from the map, that he will actually finish the game. Because he does the mission where you go to Whiterun, and then he just gets lost. And the thing is, I love it. I love watching him just walk in the wilderness. No, he walks. No, why must I run everywhere? This is a beautiful game. And he will walk. And he will enjoy himself. And he'll be like, oh, look here, there's a guy coming at me. Kill him. Oh, yeah. And he's like, no, I must hide the body. So you'll pick up the body. And you'll take it off the path. And you'll go back into the path. And you'll walk. And he's legit. Like, I'm worried that if I introduce my father to WoW, I would never see my father again. He's so. And the thing is, he was into some games. Other games he was not so much into. His favorite game is still Silent Hunter 3 because, for those who don't know, my father's a Navy man. And he works on the South African submarines. Well, he used to. And because of that, he was into Silent Hunter, particularly Silent Hunter 3. And even to this day, when I go over, he goes, oh, I really want to play it. And I go, Dad, it's on your computer. And I'll go to his computer, and you'll see right next to Skyrim, Silent Hunter 3. And he goes, I didn't see it there. Why? Because this man will go into local files, Steam apps, common, Skyrim ESC, and you'll play it there. And I said, why don't you use the launcher? There's a launcher. I just thought the thing loads up and then I must go find it myself.
You know what, though? This kind of reminds me of this. Maybe you know her, the Skyrim granny.
Oh, yes.
She's also, I guess, I've watched some of her things. She's very, very sweet. But I also have her on Twitter, and she's fucking adorable. She takes screenshots of views in Skyrim and posts them on Twitter. And she's like, look what pictures I took today. I'm like, oh my god, you're so sweet. She's like, look at the lovely flowers, and there's a lovely view of a river or something. And I'm like, oh, but then every now and then it'll be like, I killed a dragon, and it like fell and looks really cool. And she takes a picture of a murdered dragon. And I'm like, you're a very interesting person.
I can't wait to get because I'm working towards getting my father a proper computer, and I want to know what he will do if I get him better mods, or I introduce him to Fallout 4, because he also likes the Fallout franchise. I mean, before Skyrim, Fallout 3 and New Vegas were his thing. Whenever I had to go wipe his computer because he went on to something and then something happened and he clicked the yes and then he downloaded something. It normally happens when he wasn't one of those people stupid enough to follow the scammers, but he was dumb enough to follow the scammer software. So he did that, right? And then I used to go wipe his computer and then use his Windows license to reload Windows on. Fine. But before then, like, I used to do it every time. I had to back up his Fallout 3 save, because he only wanted to play that one. If he wouldn't play the game if he didn't have his save. So I used to back up like 4 or 5 saves since the last time, and then wipe his computer then. Fallout 3, Game of the Year, and he's happy. Then he finished it. Then he went into New Vegas, and he finished that. And then he's been stuck on Skyrim. And yeah, there's still a world out there for him, eh?
Well, like when we were talking about earlier, you're the person you know who's a Nintendo fanboy and plays them over and over. I was thinking of Skyrim at the same time because I played Skyrim over the course of 3 weeks, 112 hours, and I never played it again because I'm like, I know I tried. I was a sneaky cat lady, and I loved it. And then I played as a warrior, and I got bored, and I never played it again.
I think my favorite was my assassin.
Yes, fuck. What are the cat people called?
The Khajiit.
Khajiit. I was one of them, which was wonderful, and I hid around, and I had like extremely overpowered abilities. Like whenever I crouch, you go invisible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fucking overpowered. And you can also use it if someone's like chasing you, you just duck, they get confused for a second. And I'm like, this is so
especially
OP.
if you get the ebony chainmail.
I think I had that. I had like everything maxed out. It's bullshit.
But like that's the thing for me. I played Skyrim once. I always tell someone I always played Skyrim once. The other times I used to launch Skyrim was I would go, I want to play Skyrim. Traditional, I modded the shit out of it. After the modding, I played it. And I was like, this game is good. It's fine now. I know how it goes now. I'm good. And I'll stop playing it. Because I'm like, I just wanted to see how nice I could make it. And then afterwards I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to do these missions again. Do you know how tired I am of fighting over a fucking crown?
You know what is fascinating though? I only played Skyrim once. I played Oblivion once. I've played New Vegas through start to finish as every single faction more than once. I've been independent. I've been for Mr. House. I've been for the Legion. And I've been for the NCR. I love it so much.
I've played. I think I've played New Vegas more times than I've played Fallout 3. But I think I've played Oblivion more times than any of the other ones. That's my game. The reason why I like Oblivion is because I haven't come to a limit of how much I can improve my skills. It still follows the old Bethesda mindset of all these different things. Like agility and acrobatics and all of those straight out of freaking D&D, you know? And my favorite thing was, as long as you keep on doing it, you're going to level up. So, I refused to use fast traveling in that game. No, I only rode the horses like one or few times because I ended up being faster than a horse. Not by just running everywhere, because that's when running still took stamina. Yeah. Not walking, but...
You jump.
Yeah. So I jumped everywhere, to the point where I could leap a distance that wouldn't have been possible. Meaning I could get to areas I wasn't supposed to be, just because I just kept on going. And because I also played an assassin, the assassin rewards, the bonus rewards if you do the job perfectly, are so OP that eventually I'm like, okay, I need to go to this place down the map, and I'll just jump everywhere. And I will just glide through the map, and to the point where I used to struggle with loading because the game crashed a lot. And I used to struggle with loading the next area, well, not the next area, but as you go, you render the environment, and eventually the game would crash because I'm moving too fast, rendering too many things. And
that's great though.
So if you want to be the best at something in that game, at least I feel that you can actually do that, almost to a point where it's very unrealistic.
By the way, if you ever want to see the most ridiculous form of that, what you did, watch like any of the current world record speedruns for New Vegas. There's a glitch that lets them jump through the sky, and they literally like teleport across the map, like jumping through it.
Which game had the bucket glitch where you could fly using the? I think it was Skyrim that had a bucket glitch.
That sounds familiar.
Where if you stand in the bucket or something, it breaks the.
That's not very possibly.
And then you can just.
Not Bethesda. That's just broken shit.
Well, there was this broken thing, I think, in like the most recent SpongeBob game, where if there was some exploit that you could do, and it would just take you to the final battle.
That's great.
And because there's no real character progression, you could just finish the boss off, because you play this to unlock this area. but you don't actually get stronger. You just get better at playing. So you could just utilize this exploit to go from the first map to the last map and finish the game.
That was, I know, also when Bloodborne came out, they discovered a glitch in that where you can somehow like jump over a wall that's right in the beginning, and then you end up in like a late game stage, which to anyone else is a terrifying prospect because it's Bloodborne. You'll probably die. But these people are fucking badass.
But that's what I find is always like the charm of the Dark Souls and stuff, is that the map is very much
interconnected.
It's not like, okay, I'm going to linearly go through this. If you fuck up and you go the wrong way at the wrong point in your level,
oh yes,
you best turn around.
Oh yes.
So the fact that exploit is there is more of like, I would allow it, because even if you're there when you start the game, it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah. I don't know if you never really played Dark Souls much, eh?
I played the first one.
Okay.
4-bit.
Did you play with a controller?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's don't.
No, don't. I remember in that the first time properly that I freaked the fuck out, because it happens a lot. Dark Souls. You see something, you go, no, I'm gonna go the other way. I remember walking, and I randomly found this gate. I walked through the gate. I walk along this nice little like cliff, and I was like, oh, let's explore that. Well, there's dragons. I'm gonna turn around now. It was great. I love that game. So, we started talking about Rockstar. And then talking about other shit. So should we move on?
Yes.
This is also another, this is a weird story. So, the composer on Metal Gear Solid teamed up with the developer of Stardew Valley to make a series of lullaby songs themed around Stardew Valley as an album to help people fall asleep.
It's a very community content.
Yes, it is. But also, this guy, has made lullaby albums for other games like Celeste, Shovel Knight, and Undertale.
Maybe that's his thing. Maybe that is his thing. Maybe his thing is he might have been the Metal Gear composer, but maybe his thing is just game music, and maybe he prefers the more light-hearted game music.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Maybe he's just a fan of the games themselves. Or maybe there's a bigger paycheck at the end of the tunnel. We will never know.
We'll never know. Alright, and so, the next thing is something probably very unexpected. They're making a KotOR remake.
Is BioWare involved?
No.
Just EA?
No. Well, EA, yes, but they're not the ones who are doing it. It's a studio called Aspyr. Now, you would have never heard of Aspyr before, but Aspyr has been around for fucking ever. I looked them up after this because I was like, I don't remember Aspyr. I've never heard of Aspyr before. But Aspyr, okay, I don't have it on this particular page, but Aspyr has straight up made, they're basically a port people.
Okay, yeah.
I'll just type it in here. Okay, so Aspyr, these guys have been around since 96. They have made the ports for, they're also one of those ones where you go onto Wikipedia and they do not have where it says, games. It is not on the main article. It has its own separate article called List of Games Ported by Aspyr. Okay, so they've made everything from, they ported Tomb Raider, the original Deus Ex, Star Trek, Elite Force. I don't know if you ever played Elite Force, but it was fucking amazing.
I didn't play any Star Trek games.
Yeah, it's one, no one seems to have heard of it. They, back in the day, ported those to the Mac. They were, the ones who, they, ported, say, all of the Harry Potter games to the Mac. They ported a bunch of things to, Microsoft. They seem to mostly be sort of Mac, but straight up, you would have heard of all these games where I'd just be like, okay, so they did a Shrek game, they did Knights of the Old Republic to Mac, they did Doom 3 to Mac, Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars to Mac, Star Wars Battlefront, they did that to Mac, Sims 2, Quake 4, Tony Hawk's games, more Star Wars games. They have fucking everything. And then they stopped kind of doing Mac, and that was all the other things as well. But they have ported so many things it's ridiculous. It's just, if you just look them up, Aspyr, you'll just see a list, a fucking huge list. So, I mean, there are people that know what they're doing, at least.
Well, considering that then the people know what they're doing to port a game, I would say it's its own speciality, porting.
Yeah.
It's not the same as developing, but the skill set can be utilized for both. That's interesting. What I will say is that if they do so, I hope that they personally, I hope that they update the combat. I don't think the game for me needs any other major update besides the combat.
Yeah, no, I can understand that.
Because running around the corner, then okay, game pause. Who's fighting me? Oh, motherfucker's down there. Okay.
Yes.
And then and the whole you line up the attacks, but sometimes the guy like I don't know if this ever happened to you, but I would line up the attacks like do the dual strike or whatever, or the dual fire, and then you'd line them up, and then it would get to the dual fire, and the guy just like gets hit and then fucks off. You're like, okay.
Or of course, there's the other thing where you set up all of your attacks with one of your characters to attack one of the enemies, and then one of your other guys kills them, and so then it re-rolls them all for you, and just auto sets your character to attack one of the other characters with like regular attack, and then I'm like, oh, I have to pause it, delete all of those attacks, say double attack, double attack, double attack.
But the thing is, that was because of BioWare.
Yeah.
That was the BioWare turn-based, semi-turn-based system. And I understand that. Now that BioWare is not involved, hopefully it's a better game now.
Yeah.
Because they can't exactly do anything at the moment. They bogged down by so much other crap.
Yeah.
That they're not going to do it. And plus, it's not BioWare anymore. BioWare, the people who made BioWare have left.
Yes.
And those that are staying are probably regretting their decision to ever stay. But not everybody can just leave like that.
Yeah.
But so I hope it's a good game. I mean, so far Disney has done wonderful things with the franchise. In the gaming department, I'm only going to comment on the gaming department, not anything else. But I did play Battlefront, the fixed Battlefront 2.
Come now, the third movie in the trilogy is the greatest Star Wars film that's ever been made. Come on, it's beautiful. It's not the worst piece of shit I've ever seen, but none of it makes sense. And for some reason, Palpatine is back.
They attacked a Star Destroyer on animal back, and had a battle on the surface of the Star Destroyer.
You know what my favorite thing about
against lasers.
You know what my favorite thing about the
turrets.
entire thing was that they were like, we're doing this whole new thing, we've got like a new bad guy and everything. You know what? Palpatine survived. Because why fucking not?
Do you know why? It's because they watched Endgame, and they're like, we like that. We like bringing back old
fan
villain.
favorites.
Yeah, fan favorites. And then they did the whole Endgame thing, Heroes are facing this massive feud by themselves, and all of a sudden, everybody comes in. So, no. It was fantastic. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was probably a watchable extension to the franchise.
You know what? It had some good cinematography.
It had some okay CGI.
Yeah.
What
it
I
had
found...
It had good costumes and makeup.
Yes.
They all do.
Yes, that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm not commenting on the movies. I love the content, the series.
Yeah.
I love I'm a little bit upset about the extended universe thing, because that also means that there is no Jedi. What are they called? A Jedi Hut.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So I'm a little bit upset about the whole extended universe fucking off into non-existence. But at the same time, I do feel like there are they have good ideas. Like, I think the directors and the writers have good ideas. I think that the publisher has bad ideas. You know, it's like I would never ever make a movie to satisfy the time it's being made. I would never ever make something that is politically correct now to release now. I would always. What movie do you know that is a classic that was made with political correctness in mind?
Well, there is actually one thing which is quite random. Event Horizon. Did you watch your Event Horizon?
No. I just know what that is.
Yeah, there's horror, sci-fi. It's got... God, does it have him in it? I'm suddenly forgetting. But the one character, they all like from different nations, and they have like the flag patches on their like uniforms. And the one guy, he said because his character's from Australia, and he wanted to have the Aborigine flag in it because he thought that by the time that took place, the Aborigine should actually have equal standing in Australia, which they still don't.
But
to this day,
it never ages well.
Yeah. Well, that aged too well because this hasn't worked.
No, but the thing is, name a classic off the top of your head.
Godfather.
Godfather, right?
Yeah. It's got a lot of misogyny in it.
Yes. No, but it does. But it was never trying to be political correct. It was, yes, it was made with the views of that time, but I would never try to make a political statement out of a movie. Because the thing is, it might be a hit for that time, but it's going to age badly.
What is it? Well, I mean, Idiocracy is making a political statement.
Yes, but it's not of that time. It's of the future.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah.
I'm talking about like I would never go to a content creator or writer and go, oh, you made your story with this independent person of color, and they go, no, it was a story about this guy who let's say it's a story where the protagonist is a white male, and it involves around his views and his perspectives as a white male into that story, making so that everything feels more realistic because he's coming from his perspective. And they go, do you know what would be great? Is that he wasn't a white male. And then they kind of edit the whole story and sometimes the whole premise of that story for that. And they try to flip the script, you know? And then they're still making a statement on this. They're still trying to make the same statement, but it falls a little bit flat because the writer was envisioning a certain setting. It's like you have a. Let's go to your what's it? Your novel. Is it Flesh Zone Blues? Yes. Let's go with that detective, right? Now, what if right? You wrote this guy. But then they decided that certain aspects of it wasn't going to work so well, and they changed it up. Would you be happy with the changes?
Well, I'm actually quite a weird person in this case, because when it comes to adaptation, I am happy with people adapting it however they like. If you are artistic with your adaptation, you get some adaptations that completely go against the entire premise of the thing, but they can still be fun in their own right. They can try their own new things. But like, say for instance, if you look at like most stories, for instance the sex or the race of the character isn't really part of the character unless it's intrinsically part of it. And for instance, you couldn't really have, say, American History X, which is about white supremacy. You can't have the main character be black. That would be weird. But most of the time, I'm like, you could have every character in Star Wars be black. Like, they're not like really humans.
No,
it wouldn't really matter. So I don't really.
Enough.
And same with like say sex. I'm like, unless it's specifically part of it.
But what if that character wasn't politically correct, so they changed it to fit it more?
Well, I don't know. I think it depends. But
what if the political correctness of that character became its personality instead of what you intended?
Well, how many things are like super politically correct in terms of like stories? Because like say for instance with Star Wars, the newer ones, people like to be a bit racist about the fact that one of the characters is black. The stormtrooper guy, Finn's his name, and I'm like, he's not an African American person. He's a space people.
Yeah.
He's just a black space person.
And like,
it doesn't matter what his
I remember
race is.
them going out about the whole, why is he a black person? Like, it's because they stopped using clones. They started taking children from the colonies.
Yeah. Also, you'll get people, usually for angry white people, who will be like, well, why is there a black person in my fantasy story? And you're like, it's a fantasy story, right?
Yeah.
Why are they white? So, I don't know. I think it depends.
But race is not the problem inside that barrel of snakes. The problem there is Ray.
The thing is, people do like to bring up Ray. Now, I think that they did it really poorly. The whole her becoming, super overpowered. But they did the exact same thing with Luke.
But Luke had character growth.
He did have character growth, and I think that they fucked up the entire...
That's what I'm trying to say, is he had character growth.
They could have made her great... I think she was great in the first episode, and then I think the second episode did alright. I actually really enjoyed the second episode, and then they caved to bullshit.
No, the thing is, the first episode was like, okay, this is cool, I'm looking forward to what happens next. The second one, I was like, hey, this is nice, but it's only nice because it's a rerun of what's happened before. Like, it's following the same steps, the same beat.
To be fair, that's all of them.
Yeah.
That's also the first one has another Death Star. This time it's a planet.
And
it's a planet star.
Luke is drinking some weird alien milk.
Yeah. I really liked Luke's characterization because I was like, he just became an asshole old man.
But I actually liked it because it's like, think about what he had to deal with, and you kind of understand that. And what I liked the most about the second one was that they were following the beats, but at the same time they were also creating something that felt a lot more akin to what would happen in that universe than just simple repetition. And I don't mind if every character is whatever the society dictates them to be. I just don't want to have a character who has shown no personal growth.
Yeah, I think that
to be praised for being strong and independent.
The thing is, I think that they mishandled a lot of it, especially with the third film, because the first two films felt like they kind of organically worked with each other. The third one was like, here's Palpatine. Just suddenly, out of nowhere, and you're like, that wasn't... You just made this shit up as you went, didn't you? Like, you weren't like actually preparing this as it went. I think that was really shitty. But this actually reminds me quite a bit of... There's a series, anime, it just came out. And I actually watched it. I forgot, but I was originally planning on mentioning it on podcast. It's called Yasuke. And you got a bunch of white people being very, very angry because they were like, how dare you? Why is there a black samurai? It's based on a real person.
But wasn't there
black samurai who fought for Nobunaga?
Yes, no. But I think I did also hear that controversy where people were bitching about it, like they actually exist.
Yeah, there was actually a black samurai.
No one ever questions Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Oh, God. I love how also when they made the Ghost in the Shell
there's
movie,
no Jewish samurai.
When they made the Ghost in the Shell movie, which I never watched, the live action one.
Yeah.
I love that somehow Major Kusanagi was played by Scarlett Johansson. And I think I've never seen it, but I've heard that she's just called the Major. So they don't call her Kusanagi.
Yeah.
Because then you might go, you look a bit white for Kusanagi.
but the thing is, that's the kind of adaptation I don't really mind, because it's set in a futuristic world. Now the thing is, Japan's futuristic world will always be to appeal to the Japanese people. So it doesn't like. Have you seen the other races in animes? Have you seen how they butcher a German is blonde hair, blue eyes. A Russian is normally silver hair.
An American is always wearing an American flag.
Or blonde,
or blonde.
Brown eyes.
Yeah.
And then like it doesn't strike me as like, what the fuck are they thinking? My thing is this: they have to incorporate. If they're going to do a futuristic world where people are living on top of people, there's going to be some change. I mean, obviously there's a lot of actresses in Hollywood who could have played an Asian
Like Lucy
version.
Liu.
I was trying to not refer to that's the one actress that every white person will know.
Or like randomly make, is it Ada Wong? She's a comedian, but I would just love to randomly see her in an action movie. I've seen a special with her. She was pregnant during a comedy special, and I was like, imagine just angry, pissed off, pregnant Asian woman is Mecha Kusanagi.
I don't like. I don't mind that they westernized it up. I did watch it. I actually did end up enjoying it. Right? Obviously, not it's the same amount as the anime and its movies, but it reminded me of those. It reminded me of what if Resident Evil wasn't a B movie. That's the kind of vibe I got from it. Like, yeah, they took some liberties, but Scarlett Johansson does a good job, and the story is engaging.
She is good. You know, there's actually only one case I can think of in which I remember sitting to myself and thinking, you know, it shouldn't have been Japanese people playing this. It was a very bad live action adaptation of an anime. You already know it's going to be bad. The Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And I remember just being like, you didn't know, like in the series, they're essentially model Europeans.
Yeah. They literally are European.
They're European, and then there's the what is it? It's basically based on China, the other nation. And I'm like, so what were you gonna do if the film series continued? Were you gonna get an Asian era person to play them, or are you going to get like a white person to play the Asian people and you're going to mix it up a bit?
But that's like,
it seemed like a bit of a weird. It also just didn't work.
When you use a race to appeal to a culture, it's very weird. Like, I get similar vibes when I watch that. I got similar vibes to The Last Airbender. Why are the firebenders Indian?
Yeah, I mean, well, also wasn't the main kid is like a white kid, I think.
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
And he's supposed to be, especially. Airbender is basically modeled on like Chinese people.
Yeah.
So you're like,
well, I would say more Tibet.
Yeah. Also, the main people were all white, I think, if I remember the Water Tribe.
No,
people.
the Water Tribe.
Well, no, not the Water Tribe, but the two Sokka and KotOR. I think that they were white people, weren't they?
I can't.
It's been a long time. It's a bad movie.
Yeah.
I watched it once and I didn't like it.
I watched it twice. I watched it once, and then I watched a study on it and why it was such a bad movie. So essentially, I've watched it twice because it wasn't one of those studies where it's like, oh no, YouTube bad won't allow a whole movie. It was the guy going through the movie.
Yeah, it's
and what I find from that is it's you're right. Full Metal Alchemist definitely shouldn't have been Asian people portraying that. But then I raise you this. Dragon Ball.
Oh God.
That was beautiful. I remember
Dragon Ball Evolution.
I remember renting it out.
Me too.
Super stoked. Watched it. Super stoked. Afterwards, people hated on it. And I was like, but you know what? It made me laugh.
It had some funny moments.
The Last Airbender made me depressed because I felt like they were destroying, they were dismantling this thing I loved. However, did you know that they're making a The Last Airbender series? Another one,
a live action series. Yeah,
based on what happens after, but between.
Okay, I don't know what it's about.
So what I heard was it's going to be between the Korra and the first one. So it's going to be what they did afterwards to get to that point.
Yeah,
and I think I think it's the original guys that wrote the.
I like that more because you're not trying to sort of rewrite the old things. So I like that.
I went to Korra thinking that it was going to be okay. It's going to be trying to do the same with the female lead, and then they took it someplace so much nicer.
It is,
and I was just like, thank you.
I know. Thank you. That's something I've constantly been like. You know, this is why, for instance, whenever they talk about they're going to make a movie based on a game, I'm like, don't adapt the same story. Just use the world. Like you could make an Elder Scrolls movie. Doesn't have to be based on any of that. You can just. It's a great world. You can set a story in that world. Make it for a movie.
I've always been like this. When it comes to remastering movies, stop remastering classics. remaster the movies that
Shit
were
movies.
good. No, but like they were good, but they weren't great.
Yeah.
For instance, shouldn't it be the perfect time to reboot Blade? You're looking for a Black Lives Matter comic book.
You want to know something funny
hero?
about this? Actually, I saw a thing because there was something. I remember seeing something about a new Blade, something about making a new Blade, and there was someone saying, oh, PC gone mad. They're gonna make another superhero black, and you're like, Blade is black.
Yeah,
he was
black.
played by Wesley Snipes.
You know who'll make a good Blade?
Mm.
Idris Elba.
Yes, you would.
He would make a good Blade.
But you know what? He's just good in anything.
Okay, fair enough.
Don't be like,
you can just take him and there we go.
Like, you can't be like, oh, there was that really bad Idris. No, there might be a bad movie with him, but he wasn't bad in it.
There was a movie where series, sorry, that I thought that it would actually be bad because they're not using his strength. It was Raising Charlie. I think it's Raising Charlie. It's good.
No, I haven't seen it.
It was to me it was good, and the thing is, not just Idris Elba, but there are new. Okay, I'm not going to talk about. I'm not looking at the MCU because, but I'm just looking at who would be a good actor for Blade, right? Obviously, I would love it if they rebooted Blade and then had Ryan Reynolds reprise his role. That would just be funny. But
you know what? When I rewatched the Blade movies a while back, his character in Blade Trinity, is straight up just Deadpool.
Yes,
it's just Deadpool. It's not. He isn't Deadpool, but he acts exactly like Deadpool. And I was like, you were just trying the whole time.
No, he was trying because remember he wanted to get on the franchise, and he unfortunately went on to Green Lantern before he got Deadpool.
You know what? That end bit of Deadpool 2 is fucking hilarious, where he goes back and like
he starts killing everybody.
And you see there's like Ryan about to look at like a Green Lantern.
It's just too serious.
Yeah. By the way,
this is a game podcast.
By pure coincidence, the next topic is actually about a movie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, take where we go.
Exactly. So I've never played. I don't think you've ever played it. Dynasty Warriors.
I have. Okay, the closest I got to it was downloading it.
Okay. So, but you know the thing. You're like waves of enemies, and you like hit them, and they go flying and shit like this. They're making a Dynasty Warriors movie.
There's a big fan base around
there.
There is.
Like, there's a huge fan base.
I didn't know the games existed, but when I actually looked it up, I was like, that's why I wanted to download it. And I was like, this game looks cool, but obviously I wanted to play the first one first. And then I went back and I looked and I'm like, there's a big following to this.
But here's the thing. Now, I know the games because like I know people, like I watch people who like them and I've seen footage and stuff and I'm like, it's not really the game for me. I would get bored. But I'm like, that's cool. When I watched the trailer, the trailer's only in Japanese, and I was like, okay, cool. Please don't make it like a serious. They didn't. It's straight up still live action people hitting people and they go flying. It is just a live action version of Dynasty Warriors. It looks like over the top campy dialogue. They're hitting people flying. They have like magic powers that like burst entire battlefields. I'm like, this is how to make an adaptation of something. Be true to the formula. It works.
You know what I found to be quite a good piece of information is that I don't know where I got this information from, but I was like, they were talking about making a game that's I would say a Japanese mafia game, and they were going like, no, it should be like. Should play like The Godfather and stuff. And people are like, no, you can't. It's cultural expropriation. And this guy comments, why not just make a series out of Yakuza? And I'm thinking, I have a Yakuza upstairs installed, ready to finally play. Took me a while to save up the funds to acquire it, but
is it Kiwami?
Yeah. So I'm just thinking now. Yes, they should make a Yakuza movie series, but they shouldn't make a series that's heavy. Japan does well when they play to their original strengths. Don't go for a Western dark mobster series. Make it outrageous.
Well, actually,
I want to see the hair. What's it called? The palm. I want to see that
delinquent.
Yeah,
thing.
I want to see that barrel on top of their forehead.
But actually, one of the things of the Yakuza games were inspired a lot by Yakuza movies, which are like dark, serious.
Yeah, but
they've been around since ages in Japan. We just don't know them because they don't cross over.
No,
it's not like anime.
But it's still something I would like to see. I mean, when I watched the live action GTO, Great Teacher Onizuka, the first live action one was like okay, and then when they remade the live action of it, it was good. It followed some of the same beats as the anime, but it also went more in depth with some things, and I thought it was great. I thought it was funny, and I still think that the best times I've enjoyed Japanese content is when they stop trying to be Western.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a new one as well, which I think that you might like. Way of the House Husband. It's a new anime. It's about an ex-Yakuza. He left the Yakuza and he became a house husband. And he does everything extremely seriously. It's fucking wonderful. Where he's will be a scene where he's like, okay, you're in charge of this turf. All right, go do your thing. And then you see it turns out he's talking to a Roomba, the little vacuum cleaner robot, and he just sits there watching it for a while. And then you see it goes to a corner. They have sensors, so it hits the corner and then it moves away. And he's like, no, you have to get into the corners. And then he runs up and he wraps a cloth around a bamboo katana, and he starts getting in there, and he's just you have to get these corners, motherfucker. And then it turns out there's a live action version too, and I looked up the trailer for it. Oh my god, it looks like the most perfect thing that has ever existed because it has the same energy.
But that's what I'm saying. That energy is what you expect from them. Now, I prefer content like that. There was this. I can't think of this one. There was this movies I watched. My god, I don't watch a lot of Japanese content. When it comes to the live action stuff, because
anime, yes.
Because the reason why I don't, I'm not a person. I actually like most of their stories. My thing is the acting's a lot. I won't say it's stiffer, but it feels a lot more proper.
Yeah.
Compared to where you could say that anime itself is a very boring. When there's no action happening, it gets very boring because they're literally standing still, moving a little bit.
Yeah, focused minimal movements. Yeah.
So when it comes to their live action, there's certain things where it doesn't just feel like their animation; it just feels awkward.
Yeah.
And I understand because I'm not a part of that society and I wouldn't know what is actually going on. But I love it when they decide to go with that energy. There are some great and I don't mean just the comical energy. When it comes to the way they do storytelling, I would love that in a live action, but then I don't want that so much in a live action as much as I want it in a movie. That
it's like these people that get super into because Korean stuff has become bigger and bigger. What are they called? Are they called K-dramas or something?
Yeah.
You also get Japanese ones where it's live action dramas, and I'm I understand people getting into it, but I don't know. There's a weird barrier where I'm I like anime. I don't really know if I want to watch live action stuff.
Honestly, it's okay. The Korean stuff I haven't delved much into, but I would say that the live action content is actually good.
They got some fucking great stuff.
If you can get used to the way they do things. But I also think that you're a bit biased having been exposed to the best drama content in the world. So I think that you are biased in that sense.
I mean,
nothing's going to beat Bollywood. Nothing
will ever beat it. It's too good. It's the greatest acting you've ever seen in your life.
Exactly, and that's what I'm trying to say is that you're just biased.
It is kind of true though, because you do sort of just go, oh, I love Japanese anime, and then you'll be like, I don't know about live action stuff, and you just stay away from it because you're closed-minded, basically. And there might be fucking great stuff, but you don't want to look at it because you're a bitch.
There's only one thing that throws me off about anime when it comes from I know people always go, if it's not from Japan, it's not. Fuck you. If it's made in that art medium, it's fucking anime. I don't care, because if we had a story made by an Indian with Disney animation, it's going to be Western cartoons.
Yeah.
So don't come to me and tell me, oh, anime is not anime if it's not made in Japan. It doesn't matter.
Well, the one I just said, that Yasuke, the new one with the Black Samurai, Japanese animation studio, written and directed by a black guy.
Yeah. Or because Crunchyroll is getting big into the investing into the Japanese market. Also, there are Korean studios making Korean anime.
Yeah.
And then because their second language in Korea, I believe, is Japanese, or one of the languages they must know is Japanese, they will voice, if they got a better shot at reaching an audience with Japanese and they have to do, then a Korean studio or a Chinese studio will originally voice it in Japanese because it transfers over better, and they're also directing it for a Japanese audience. So for me, that makes sense. Korean, I can still watch a Korean anime, and I will feel like a complete beginner because I no longer get the same rhythm, so I have to stop and take time to read the subtitles, and eventually I'll get used to it. I do not like Chinese. Oh, I think I don't know which one they use, the Cantonese or Mandarin. I'm not too sure, but I don't like the sound they make when they talk.
Although,
like, it feels too choppy for me to.
Although I'm assuming you have watched Kung Fu Hustle in the original Cantonese.
Yes.
Although the English dub is also fucking hilarious.
I watched the dub version first, but then I decided, let me see what it's like, and then I was like, oh.
I actually kind of prefer it in the dub version because it just adds to how ridiculous it is. So it just sounds wackier.
Yeah,
and you're like, this goes with the theme.
Yeah,
style.
Yeah. What they were going for.
It kind of feels almost like a Kung Pao-ish.
The thing is, when I watched Kung Pao, people tell me, it was a guy that took a movie and then cut it up and added, and I'm like, when I watch Kung Pao, it feels like that movie was made for Kung Pao.
Also, I like that he voiced everyone. Which, and I am sure, like, no, he is the influence behind all the abridged series. It's him.
Yes, yes. Even Little Kariba. This is Wimplo. We have purposely chained him wrong.
That's a joke. If you've got an ass, I'll kick it.
How'd you like your fist to my face style? The thing is, I love that, right? And like I said, even Little Kariba paid homage to the creator of Kung Pao, because nobody's better than Betty. Nobody is better.
I like all of these people. Also, something that I actually loved. I don't know if you knew this about it. Even when they recorded like him, do you know that he was just speaking gibberish and then he voiced over himself? So he didn't want his own lips to line up.
Yes, because it was supposed to be the style of it. That was the whole thing.
So actually, we're like the one with the woman with 3 breasts. Or was it 1 breast? Was it 1 breast or 3 breasts?
When she's talking, he's just like, oh, yes.
Yes. But like, apparently both of them were just talking at each other, and then they just voiced over.
The best is that dog. Where it's like, where the dog barks and it lays down, and then it sounds like it's woof.
To me, actually, the best scene in that entire movie is when the old master is talking, and then you see a fly goes into his mouth, and then another one goes, and he's like, "Oh, what's the odds of that?" And we're very, very off topic. We should maybe try and get back to
let's head back.
Okay, now the next one is actually quite like just a quick off thing. I don't know if you know the game Days Gone. The PS5 exclusive, PS4 exclusive.
I have heard of it, yes.
I think it's like a zombie game. You have a motorbike, but it didn't really do very well.
Isn't it? No. I know about this. I also know that it wasn't a great game.
Yeah, so it wasn't received very well, but there are people that loved it. Sort of became like a bit of a cult classic kind of a thing. So then the writer that gave an interview in which he then said something that's quite, as I wrote in my thing here, Days Gone writer, bit of a dick. So he was like, the game would have done better if people had bought it like at full price. Basically being a bit of a dick to people who, buy things on specials because they're poor. or because they don't have as much money. So he's just like, yeah, basically, you're the reason. The people who are saying, oh, they want another Days Gone, you're the reason that a new one isn't coming out because you didn't buy the game at full price. Which is just a bit of a dick thing to say.
I would say that if you had to write a better story for the game, then maybe they would have wanted something. The thing is, the ego is a very fantastic thing to have because it provides entertainment for other people. Like, well, when I hear someone go, "Oh no, if you bought the game or you spent more money on it, then we will be able to make a new one." And my thing is this: well, if it was good, we would have. I mean,
isn't it fascinating though?
I'm sitting here next to somebody that just claimed in a video that they pre-ordered GTA 5 and then wasn't very happy with it.
Yeah.
And I can say this: ha ha. Oh wait.
However, the difference is that I would have been disappointed anyway because I was expecting it to live up to San Andreas. I did also get. I pre-ordered.
Trash over trash.
I pre-ordered Fallout 4 and I enjoyed Fallout 4.
But you didn't enjoy it as much as you were expecting to.
I actually know. Yeah, maybe not as much as I was expecting to, but I still enjoyed it. And I wasn't like pissed off about it like some people seem to have been. I was like, no, it's a different game. It's not as good as New Vegas, but it's Bethesda. You can't expect it to be as good as Obsidian. You know.
I like when somebody has a problem with their product that all of a sudden they want to blame everything except for the thing that was innately wrong with it. Like what I heard about is Days Gone, right? Is that it was a game. It was an okay game. The story wasn't exactly top notch, but you know it served its purpose as a game. And in this time I believe we are hyper filtering content to the point where a game that would otherwise in 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if it had to release then, it would have been acknowledged. Now we've got so many games of that quality releasing that you have to go above and beyond to get noticed. And if you have a fan base that desperately wants a sequel, right? Don't be a dick. Don't give them a prequel. They want a sequel. Fine.
Yeah.
Then why aren't you just crowdfunding?
Okay, you know what? You know what this reminds me of as well? Another bitchy person. He was a guy who made, he worked in the Assassin's Creed games. And then he went off and he made a new game of his own. Not by himself, obviously, with like a studio. And it got mostly 7s. And then he gave a very bitchy thing being like, I'm used to getting 9s from reviewers. And you obviously didn't understand my game. Which, whenever you hear an artist going, you don't understand it, you're a dick. And like I says, as like a writer, I'm like, if somebody doesn't get it, I'll be like, well, it wasn't for you. I won't be like, well, you clearly don't have the brain power of me. You know, because then you're a dick.
What popped into my head when you said that? Daikatana.
Okay, you know what? John Romero has calmed down a lot. Also, John Romero is a fascinating figure to me because here's my thing about John Romero. John Romero is like...
You like saying his name, eh?
Yes. So anyway, whenever he announces things, he's like, I made Doom and Quake. John Carmack, who also made Doom and Quake, doesn't even mention the fact that he made Doom and Quake because he's making VR now. He's moved on with his life. John Romero is like, I made Doom. And you're like, that was the early 90s.
You also made Daikatana.
It's 2021. Move the fuck on now. Do something else.
Wait. Maybe you should work for Nintendo.
Maybe you should work for Nintendo. But they don't like violent games.
Alright. Yeah.
He also recently released like a mod add-on thing for Doom. Because he hasn't moved on. It's like a new game in Doom.
Nintendo doesn't like violent games. enslaved creatures beating each other up.
No, yeah, I understand.
An elf running around the world beating up every.
But there mustn't be blood or like demony imagery. It can be enslaving creatures and forcing them into small balls and forcing them to fight each other. It can be beating a turtle over the head with a wrench repeatedly. It's all, you know. That's fine because that's play violence. You know, it's like imagine if there was blood in Tom and Jerry. It would be the most violent shit you've ever fucking seen. Yet people seem to be like, oh, it's not violent, even though bad shit happens to Tom. Like, really bad shit.
Isn't the ending of that of them both sitting on the railway waiting for a train to come through?
Fuck, I have no idea. But you see, if that had blood, fuck off violent. But anyway, we should probably move on.
Yes.
Now, this is just a small thing. There isn't really much to say about it, but it's just a nice thing. Psychonauts 2, finally in a playable state. It's supposed to release this year. Only took them... Crowdfunding was like, what, 8 years ago?
I still have nightmares about that last boss on Psychonauts.
The last boss. I've been told that it's easier with a controller. I played it with a mouse and keyboard.
Same.
It's fucking horrible.
The worst part of that thing, jumping from net to net. That one part where the net is where the world's kind of angled, so you can't actually see the distance, and then you jump, and then you on the net, but he doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't hold the net.
One of the best things in games is when the game itself doesn't seem to be working. And then you die again and again, and you're like, this isn't a skill thing, it isn't working. And you slowly but surely lose your mind. That is what you call good game design.
Speaking about good game design, I did mention when a bit earlier, not on mic, that I've been playing Half-Life 2 again. Just to run through it.
What a nerd.
And you know what gives me that same kind of PTSD feeling? That the one section in Half-Life 2 where you're in the car and you must race forward past the train. And the train always seems to hit you if you don't get it just right. If you don't accelerate at the right point. I got so upset. Because there's nothing you can if you miss that gap, you have to go back, and it's painful, and it reminds me of that because everything in Psychonauts is fun. The best part is the underwater part for me. I loved it. When you're in the suit, the mech, or the diving suit thing, and you go down.
When you're in the giant fish's head.
No, not inside the giant fish head. When you first got under the water, because you have to get put into that diving suit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That for me, hands down, was the best part about it.
Okay,
but
because I would actually say when you're in the fish's head.
That was okay. That was all right for me. But I would think that I just had my fun moments.
Godzilla. You're Razilla.
I understand.
Is it Raz?
The whole underwater part is my favorite in the game.
Yeah. No, you know what? But
the end boss was some bullshit.
Yes, it was. That entire game is amazing though, and it is. I'm like really being like, please, let 2 be good. Please.
No. I'm not worried about 2 being good. I wouldn't put any pressure on 2. The reason being is because I wanted a sequel. I'm getting a sequel, and it just needs to. Even if the sequel is based on the same mechanics as the first one, if it's literally the same engine, which it's not, but if it was the same game just extended, I would be happy with it. Not my expectations aren't low. It's just that I want what that game gave me, but obviously the continuation. Yeah. And the best way to get it is if they simulate that same game and push it forward. They don't have to update anything. They don't have to update the controls or make it different or do anything with it. I just wanted to be Psychonauts.
Yes. I think that Psychonauts is way overdue in general, and I just think that it's great that it is finally coming out. And also, I'm annoyed at this stupid thing. This is a very, very random annoyance, but whenever you open anything on Eurogamer, it autoplays a fucking video, and it's just irritating. And that is not how you should make a website. But anyway, that's pretty much Psychonauts. Isn't really anything newsy about it, just the fact that it's actually finally playable, and it's gonna come out. No, it will come out. It will. Double Fine is now owned by Microsoft. They're not fucking around anymore.
It will come out, and like I said, I don't want them to try anything special with it.
Just
keep it Psychonauts, and just continue on with the story.
The same thing, and I mean I think the whole thing that's really great about it is that you could make wacky ass fucking worlds because it all takes place in people's heads. So you can be like, you can make any kind of a world, and I'm like, just do that.
Yeah.
Just make your interesting worlds, and just go
Swear
for
to
it.
God, if it comes out with cover-based shooting, oh my God, or comes out with loot boxes,
Tristan, it's a battle royale.
like
they're calling it Psychonauts 2 Rise Royale.
My nephew came by, and he's a big Fortnite fan. And he always, he said something, he came by, I think he came by on Friday. And he said, you know, he likes Fortnite because Fortnite is so creative. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll give you that. And he's like, it's so original. And I was like, oh, now you're hitting the bad spot, because Fortnite isn't original. It's creative. But what he thinks is original is them recreating pop culture within the game.
That's fascinating.
Because you know, they've got the Predator and the Alien franchise in there now.
Yeah.
They've got this weird, like I was watching Nicole play it, and they've got like missions inside there, and they're given to you by pop culture references. Like Lara Croft is there to give you missions inside Fortnite. And I understand it, you know. Epic is hemorrhaging money, so the best idea is to hemorrhage more money by paying for licenses from pop culture content. Because the thing is, I'm not won over by, oh look, we've got that thing that you like from that other franchise in here, and it's a skin, and you can play as them. I mean, like, I'm still fucking playing Battle Royale. Just now you've added more things to do in the Battle Royale. And I don't think that Fortnite's original, but I do think that they are creative.
No, I think what they're very, very creative with is especially their use of other franchises. They're very, I wouldn't necessarily say creative. I would say clever.
It's not even franchises. It's just popular
pop
on
culture.
the internet. Yeah, like
also they might steal it from, you know, dancers from random ass people.
Or just memes.
Yeah,
just straight up memes. And some of these memes go back. I mean, the when you watch, when people say, oh yeah, but Fortnite was so original because they decided to take dances from memes and viral videos and put them into the game. That's not original. Do you know who did that before?
TikTok.
No, before TikTok was even inside. What's the creator? We spoke about them last episode.
ByteDance.
Yes. Yeah. Before they were even a company. Do you know who did take the videos, the dance videos from the internet and put it into the game? And you make your characters dance like that. Wow.
Really?
Wow. All the dances are actually referenced from videos and viral videos.
I actually forgot that they had dances. That's very true.
They did that. And you telling me that Fortnite's original? No, they're creative. They're not original.
Yeah. But the thing is also, it's a child. What they think is original. I mean, every second thing that comes along is probably original because they've never fucking seen it before. You know, the first time you see, if the very first time you ever see a crime movie, you'd be like, this is so original. And you'd be like, no, it's not. It's ripping off Godfather. Okay.
Now you've hit a point because I'm a big fan of mob movies.
Me too.
I love them. I could watch several recreations of Casino and still be absolutely enthralled by it. I watched that Netflix one, The Irishman.
I love The Irishman.
Exactly. You were just like, oh, Joe Pesci.
But all you have to do...
My man.
Well, basically, all you have to do this, you just have to go... Martin Scorsese. Except for Raging Bull. I didn't like Raging Bull. But that's not a mobster movie.
Or you just have to put...
Robert De Niro.
Yeah, and Joe Pesci together, and I'm already sold.
Joe Pesci isn't like around anymore. Yes, if you put in Joe Pesci, do you know?
Because Joe Pesci only, for me, Joe Pesci only needs to play one type of character, and that character is Joe Pesci.
Yes. Also, George Carlin. I don't know if you know about this thing with George Carlin, where he said the only person, because he's like, I don't believe in God. I think that praying is 50-50. You either get it or you don't. And so I choose to pray to Joe Pesci because he seems like someone who can get shit done. And you know what I found so far? Still about 50-50.
Give me a game based around those movies. You know, give it a don't give it to Rockstar.
Did you ever play the Godfather games?
No, but
the first one's really good.
But I'm not talking about Godfather. I'm talking about. You are a low-end hustler, or like how Goodfellas started out, where
in the Godfather you do start like that.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's an original character,
but I don't want it to be like typical cliches of mob, because the problem that the GTA makes celebrities of these criminals. A good criminal is not a celebrity
unless it's like one of the saints.
Like a good assassin isn't well known.
Yeah,
like the whole controversy between James Bond. He can't be the world's best spy if he's renowned.
Well, that's why Archer exists.
I would hands down play an Archer game as Archer.
I don't know what kind of game you would make though.
Think of 13. That art style. I would hands down. Yeah, I would play an Archer game where you're just somebody that's starting out, and Archer just happens to be your boss, and you must do all the shit he gets you to do.
It gets really fun. But anyway, should we move to the ons?
Yes.
So next one. Acquisition time.
Woo!
There's only been one small acquisition ready.
The acquisition cost. That's what.
So people can fly. People can fly. Obviously, made Painkiller. They made Bulletstorm, and recently they just made that Outriders.
Yes.
Thing. They have acquired a game called Phosphor Games. Phosphor Games is mostly they just make.
Not a game. They acquired a studio.
Yeah, they acquired a studio. Yeah. They basically make like mobile games, but. What is really fascinating about this is that I had always thought People Can Fly was like a small studio.
No.
What I had thought. Yeah, this is their 7th acquisition. And I was like, what? The Painkiller people, who seem to have just been kind of like quietly forgotten about after Bulletstorm didn't do that well.
Those guys do make a good game, man.
I fucking love Painkiller. I plan on replaying it soon.
I like Painkiller.
There was a PS3 port of Painkiller that was an absolute piece of shit.
Okay.
It was awful.
I mean, I enjoyed Painkiller, right? I enjoyed Bulletstorm. Yes. I wouldn't ask for a Bulletstorm 2. Do what I would ask for. I would ask for a new IP. I'm not interested in a Bulletstorm 2 because Bulletstorm ended perfectly. I was happy with it, and no problems, because mainly you're there to listen to the guy swear and shoot things.
Yeah.
That's why you play Bulletstorm.
Yes.
Not for the plot, not for the angry Asian man that constantly wants to kill you.
I really think that Bulletstorm has one of the worst examples of what wanky game journalist people call ludonarrative dissonance, where the game doesn't match the story in tone. Where you're like, the story...
It's hardcore story.
Fuck off serious. It is like about like revenge, and these people are like angry and depressed, and then you play the game, and it's ridiculous.
It's so much fun.
It's so stupid. Like, it don't work together.
But it makes... The thing is, I think it works well, because the one enhances the other. Now, the story being absolutely serious, and then your character being ludicrous. It works fair, because you like... It takes that kind of character to go on that revenge streak. when you find out that your missions weren't to hold peace, but to just assassinate, you're going to be like, well, fuck you, because that guy is already mad. Now you've got him pointing a gun at you. It's fun. You tear through everything you could possibly tear through. The amount of stretched arseholes in that game is unimaginable. You're like, okay, well, what could be your enemy? Oh no, the military's your enemy. Fuck the military, kill them. Oh no, these inhabitants of the planet, kill them. Because they're almost like Mad Max society going on down there. Oh, the plants are trying to kill you. Fuck the plants, kill the plants. Kill a big ass plant. You know? Fucking take out the colossal dinosaur that you end up using to fuck up the whole city.
You loved his name. What was his name again?
No, I'm not talking about the robotic one. I'm talking about the actual one at the end. Remember when it shows up by the it was Waggleton P. Tallywacker. That was the best name for a robotic killing machine.
But like straight up, it has like the plot of a Spec Ops, the line, and it has a gameplay of Bulletstorm.
Bulletstorm, yes, the whole sliding thing was in games before, but Bulletstorm found the best way to use it when you are sliding and you use the secondary function of the sniper rifle to hit somebody in their ass because you go underneath their legs and then back again. While you're sliding, it's, to me, the best use of the mechanic.
You know, something that they introduced into Bulletstorm with the new version, because they did like a remaster type thing on Steam. I don't know if you've played the remaster version. I can't remember.
It's something. I know they went from a black and yellow to a black and blue.
It's called Full Clip Edition.
Yes.
In Full Clip Edition, they added a new thing. Once you finish the game, you can restart it with all the weapons. And I'm like, that should just be a mode.
There's only one thing I want from that game. If I could have asked for one thing for them to add in that would have made it better, is co-op.
I know. There is a co-op version, I think, on the PlayStation.
But it's not
a co-op of the whole game. It's like co-op
It's
levels.
like Far Cry 3, where the co-op is
a
separate
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would love to play Bulletstorm, but I don't want it to be Bulletstorm co-op. I want it to be Bulletstorm with the option of co-op. The reason why is, look at games like Notorious one, Dead Space 3, where the co-op character works towards the end, right? My thing is, you already got two distinct characters who travel together. They each got their dialogue. All you need, they can still have the exact same dialogue. All you need to do is someone else to play, what's his name? Ishii.
I didn't play the third one. So
no, I'm talking about...
yes, Ishii. I think it's Ishii,
They can have the same dialogue, it's just that his mission is to go around somewhere. Just make it different, you could have the exact same story. Nothing must change. Except for someone just plays the other character. And it wouldn't feel
it wouldn't feel weird.
Forced. It wouldn't feel like Resistance, where all of a sudden I'm a black guy there just like, I exist.
Something I loved about the Resistance co-op thing was that the whole point was that this main character had some kind of a special ability that allowed him to survive, and there's this random guy just following him around and is never acknowledged in cutscenes.
Exactly. Whereas Bulletstorm has that
I know, but I love that, because I am just like, I love that it's just you're going on this journey alone with my friend. And there's just this guy. I didn't get a name. It's just like,
it's crazy.
Oh, you puppy.
I no, but the thing is, I enjoyed it, right? Even though it was just no one talked about this dude, but I just feel like Bulletstorm doesn't need to change. It literally just needs someone to play that character, and it will be perfect because he's with you throughout.
Also, Bulletstorm is just wonderful. Fucking love it. Anyway.
If you haven't played Bulletstorm yet,
yes, you must play
please give it a try.
Also, at some point, I want to make a video about Bulletstorm.
There's if you enjoyed Doom and Doom Eternal, play Bulletstorm. Yes.
If you like any kind of faster pace, it is technically a cover shooter, but you don't need to cover. You can
What
dash
cover? I use the environment to my ability. Once, like that's the nice thing about Buddhism is that
you can play as a cover shooter.
You use everything.
Yeah. The thing is, it's just really boring to play as a cover shooter, but you can do it.
I mean, why when you've got an electrical whoop that can throw people into everything?
I know. Anyway, shall we move on?
Yes.
We have some Sony news. There's a couple of things in a row. So first off, do you remember how Sony was like, we're shutting down the PS Vita and the PS3 stores?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was a lot of backlash. So they were like, cool, we're not doing that anymore. So that was just funny that they're like, okay, cool. They've also announced that they're going to be doing some kind of PlayStation Plus video pass thing, similar to the Xbox Game Pass. Because Xbox has been buying up fucking studios, and the Xbox Game Pass is a fucking good deal in terms of money, because it's like a subscription service like Netflix, but you get access to fuckloads of games without having to pay extra. So Sony was maybe like...
Google had a system like that, where you pay a subscription to get access to a fuckload of games.
Right.
Hmm.
You're talking about Stadia. Because, yes, I thought you were talking about something else, because I was like, oh, Thursday.
I said have.
But now, also something quite interesting is that on top of this, Sony has had its best financials yet. The PS5, even though from what I've seen on like Twitter, no one can fucking find these things. They seem to be like, there seems to be a scarcity of them in the shops. People can't find them. Like, I know people like...
scalpers, that's why.
Pretty much. But like, I know South African people who were like, I can't fucking find a PS5. I'm just going to buy an Xbox One. An Xbox One, Series X.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm just going to buy that because fuck it, I can't fucking find the thing. But they, so far, best financial yet, they outstripping the PS4 sales so far.
But that's the thing, it's because we got scalpers. Yeah. In South Africa, we've got a very big problem with scalpers.
Scalpers fuck themselves.
And yeah, sure, like no one could find the latest PlayStation and they went to Xbox. But I also think that if Sony is just looking at sales, they're eventually going to piss off their client. But like obviously, like down here, how many PlayStation loyalists have gone over because they simply can't find it?
Yeah. Well, I think though that the thing is, this happens whenever a company does well. They always post their financials to be like, look.
Yeah, they want to brag, but like they're not reaching it because. Just because their consoles sold doesn't mean that their consoles are getting widespread.
Yeah.
Because what I find funny about that is that you're going to have this major, impressive big number to show your sales of the console. But when it comes to your game sales, they're going to plummet because one guy is sitting with 40 PlayStations.
Yeah.
That he's waiting for them to go scarce so you can sell it back at almost triple the price.
I did see something really fucking funny though. This was posted by someone on Twitter. They posted from like a group chat where some scalper was trying to sell things and no one was buying them, so he kept on dropping the price
to when it became
more and more and
but that's how you deal with them.
But it was just so funny because people were just like, whoever tweeted this was just like, this fucker bought up like 40 of these and I can't sell them. And I'm like, oh,
that's what you get.
Yeah, that's what you get.
That's
Fuck
what you get, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
If I could download a PlayStation 5, I would. just waiting for that better 3D printing.
Yeah, but that's pretty much Sony. So they're doing well, but they're a bit worried about Xbox. So they're doing their own version. And
I think everybody needs to be scared of Microsoft.
Microsoft, no, they're taking this seriously. They lost the console generation, the last one, and I think they were like, the minute they lost, they started making plans and thought, how we're not just gonna make a better console and try to get more games exclusives. How can we just dominate? Yeah.
Why don't we, instead of trying to sway the industry into valuing us more than Sony, I've got a better idea. Why don't we just buy the industry?
They're also muscling in on PC. Because the Xbox Game Pass is also on PC.
But they've always had PC on their
Yeah, they have always.
They've
unlike Sony, they don't neglect it.
Yeah, but they can't.
Yeah.
Microsoft rise to fame.
Imagine fucking Microsoft ignore PCs.
I mean, I'm starting to think like, Jesus Christ, what if our old friend Nintendo started making okay, no, they wouldn't do it. Okay, let's take Sony. What if Sony started teamed up with Mac and started making Mac exclusive games? Like, you can get it on the PlayStation or you can get it on Macintosh, and you're just like, yeah. No, there's a reason why they came up with their own console, and they thick-skinned about it. The thing is, no matter how badly Microsoft does on Xbox, they will always have Windows.
Oh, fuck yes.
So they could have a bad financial year, but they cannot be stopped. Yeah. Now they're actually getting good studios in, and they're even taking bad studios and making them good. They're unstoppable.
Also, of course, Microsoft can always they fall back to the other things as well. They don't need to worry about games. They can be like, do you want to use literally the only word processor anyone uses? Microsoft Word. Do you want to do accounting? Excel. And Pastel. But they'll just be like, are you going to use something other than Excel? I think not. So, they're not going anywhere.
Because Microsoft looks at businesses and says, you know what? You can not use our operating system. But you've got two choices. Either you outfit your whole company with Macs, which is going to cost you somewhat, or you can hire an engineer to customize your Linux to get it to work. And most companies have gone with Linux. I get it. And do you know what? The fact is, Windows isn't perfect. Complain to any Windows owner about how shit it is, and they will agree with you. In fact, there will be more people willing to tell you everything wrong with Windows than there are that people will tell you anything right with Windows. But you know what? It works.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that there are games being made for it.
Yeah.
So
and also literally say to, I suppose also actually Apple people say to literally anyone about modern technology, it always wants to update. And I tell it not to, and then it updates anyway.
Yeah, people bitch about how updates take so long. Like, you realize that we could get stopped mid doing what we're doing, so the computer can update.
Yeah.
People bitch about Apple's taking out features so that forces you to upgrade. And you're like, yes. Do you realize that instead of just upgrading the whole machine, we have to replace parts almost every 2 years, 3 years?
Do you know that I am constantly in fear whenever I see a thing come up on my phone that says this new update of the app, you have to update in the next 30 days. It's compatible with this operating system and app. And I don't know what operating system I'm on. So every time I go, fuck, is it going to be fine? Like, I just saw my banking app, which, I use for banking, which is literally all my money. I'm like, it recently said you have to get a new one. We're turning it off at the end of April. And I was like, oh, fuck, okay, fine, I was going to do it. And it said, compatible with iOS 10 and up. And I was like, iOS 10? And I looked, iOS 13. Thank God!
No, it's funny because I feel what's gonna happen now, right? Microsoft is, even if Microsoft doesn't get the best console, it doesn't matter anymore. No. Because you want an Obsidian game, you gotta go through Microsoft. You want a Bethesda game, go through Microsoft.
I did love their little passive aggressive kind of thing, which you spoke about a while back, where they said, everything we have contractual obligations for, we will bring it to that system. And then what they're not saying is, if there isn't a contractual obligation, we're not fucking doing it.
For context, this is for Bethesda.
Yeah, Bethesda. Yeah. So, like, they might have a thing where, like, say, if there's none of this on it, it might be already positioned to come to PlayStation. But if there's one after that, I mean, we can't see in the future.
And also, they're going for diversity. They're not going... Thing is, people mistake the quantity, right, of a quality thing. I like to not think of it as quantity, but more diversity. Because what's better than to have a full range of games on your platform? You could make... You could go to the Nintendo route where they're making 5 Marios a year.
See, that's a different...
That's just quantity. It's
yeah,
not
you see,
diversity.
That is different. So, like, Nintendo, yes, they make... Like, Microsoft already makes more games a year than Nintendo. But it isn't Microsoft making them. It's the 1,000 studios they own that are all making games independently. And also what I have seen is that Microsoft tends to be quite hands-off with nowadays. They destroyed Rare before they gave them, the right to make something they wanted to make. But, like, they tend to, what I've seen from, like, all these other ones, like InXR and Obsidian.
So what you're saying is that situation is very rare.
Be gone. I'll find another host. I'll ask my mother. Mother, do you remember what a PlayStation is? Do you know which one we're up to? No, not the 3, Mum. So, shall we move on?
Yes.
Alright. Bobby Kotick. One of the greatest men who's ever lived. He's the CEO of Activision Blizzard. He's the one who doesn't like people making pictures of him with devil horns because it was affecting his sex life, apparently. I mean, should like, okay, genuinely, though, if people are putting devil horns on you, shouldn't you use that to your advantage in the dating game and be like, I'm the devil, kind of thing?
I was going, I'm horny.
I'm horny. You see that's very, very straightforward. I'm horny, and I'm red.
I don't even know why he needs to even put a picture of himself on. If he wants a successful dating life as a man of his stature, just post your bank account details.
I know. I was going to say, like, on Tinder, don't have a picture, just have your net worth.
Yes, you just or what's currently in one of your accounts. Yeah. Just post that and you will get hits.
Like, there you see, Bobby Kotick has decided to take a pay cut for the good of his people who he keeps laying off.
Okay, so whose pay is he taking?
So
whose pay is he taking?
So he's cutting his own pay by half, which means now he is only making $875,000. That's all he's making now. Okay, that's all his
rough.
salary is. I mean, if I had that, I could only afford multiple homes a year.
No, not even that. Now he has to go for. No, the thing is, he was getting top A gold diggers. He's not going to have to settle for the Resident Evil of gold diggers.
You know,
I'm sorry. I know I'm abusing Resident Evil. I love it so much. It's been on my mind.
You know what this is? Do you remember there's that episode of South Park about piracy? And then they're like, Britney Spears had to hand in her gold-plated jet for a silver-plated jet. And they're like, oh God, no! It's like that. So yeah, he's taken a pay cut.
Do you know what's funny?
You should feel sorry for Bobby. He's a man of the people.
No, he is.
He's only a billionaire.
He's one of us now.
He's one of us now.
Poverty cost. We got a new host coming on.
Bobby.
But what I was thinking is, like, with that kind of money, right? You know what's the funny thing is, people go, oh, if I have that kind of money, I'm going to become unemployed. Because you're just going to stop.
Yeah.
You can live off that. We can live off that the rest of our lives.
Yeah, and also,
one of his paychecks.
This is $875,000.
We can live off that as for the rest of our lives in this country.
Yes.
And live comfortably.
Oh, yes.
That money wouldn't make me unemployed. It would make me employed.
Yes. I would start a studio.
Exactly.
I'd be like, fuck it. I'm doing a fucking studio. I'll start all sorts of shit. And I'll buy a house because it's just fiscally responsible. Because rent is a ridiculous bullshit farce. I'm bringing out #Marxism. So,
you know, I don't mind rent that much. It's just,
look at this bourgeois bastard.
No.
He's an enemy of the people. You know, in Disco Elysium, I was the guy that shouted Marxist shit at everyone.
I would like to be what are they called, a Bolshevik. I would love to be one of them. Mm-hmm. I enjoy expressing my means through physical violence.
Okay, nice.
But no, I don't mind the whole thing of rent, right?
Yes.
I do mind. Thing is, expenses aren't fair. Yes, I get it. But you know what's worse than expenses? Payments. That I have a problem with. I don't mind paying. Now, I can't do the math in my head. I could never even do the math on paper. But anyway.
It's because he's bourgeois.
I don't mind if they have, I don't know what you guys pay in rent according to USD, but here we ran and we probably like 20 rand to the dollar now. I don't know, but like let's say 2 bedrooms that with a 2 bedrooms ground floor apartment with a parking spot that's gonna cost you about 8 grand.
Yeah, about 8 grand.
8.5. You know, I don't mind that. If 8.5 wasn't the salary I was getting for a senior position.
Yeah, I know.
Currently, I'm getting nothing
but
for it.
But that is also in the States, though.
My game is coming. I'm going to start development on it.
Well done.
This is not a plug because I can't plug something I don't have to show. But I will plug it in, the time to come.
I have finished the layout for my planned serialized story. I haven't started writing it yet. But the main thing is the planning. This is genuinely, for me, once I've got the planning, I can write the whole book. It's just the planning. You know, it has to all work together, Tristan.
What people don't realize is that just a few seconds ago, because it's a podcast, you can't see what I'm seeing, but a few seconds ago when 1 Cent Justin here inhaled, he did it again. He gets this flash of a crazy look in his eye, almost like there is sanity behind him, behind those eyes. And then you realize, no, it's just, what's it called? Personification.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I'm not really alive. I'm just a creature that's looking like it.
Yes.
Nice. Thank you.
I don't know if you guys picked it up, but it's actually, we like to call it 1 Cent Justin and 1 Cent Tristan, but really the show is me, Tristan, with a doll, and I've just really good at ventriloquism. And
I look like Jared Kushner. I don't know if you know Jared Kushner is, but I look like him. He looks like a doll.
No,
it's great. I look like Jimmy Carr. He also looks like a doll.
Sorry, I'm just showing off my ability to pull off 2 voices at the same time. I'm actually just a really lonely guy here in my room. Just I needed a best friend, so I made him.
It's very true. It's very true. He likes sticking his hand in places. So, you know.
The best part is
me talking.
The best part is when you come out with a surprise.
Very true. Have you seen Arrested Development, right?
Yes.
Job, the magician guy, he has a offensive black puppet in the last season that he always has, the 3rd season that he always has, that makes like very racist jokes. I'm like that version where I'm the white one making weird jokes.
Yeah, it's really a one-man show. The person you know as Justin doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The person that you see in his videos as LC Lupus is actually an actor I hired who, believe it or not, is actually your standard salary man that I just put a wig on.
Yeah. He's pretty good. I like him.
Thank you.
I'd definitely fuck him.
How? I wouldn't fuck him. I would send him all my money. He's got an OnlyFans coming out soon.
Oh, yeah. I genuinely wouldn't care about getting OnlyFans. I mean, fuck, I don't care. If you get money, fuck it.
I think people are just sour because they're able to get money because of their looks. And my thing is this. People with good looks have always gotten more money than ugly people. So whether you're bitching about it, do you know who you should complain about? Not the person showing off, but the people who are paying them.
Or you need to learn to do makeup, exercise, and be sexy, and do slutty poses. I'm going to do that.
And preferably be female.
Well, there's a big gay market.
Yes, but you know what's the problem with the gay market?
Mm-hmm.
It's that I can't invest in it.
Well,
I mean, I can't be a content creator.
Well, you can pretend.
The last time my wife came home and had a dildo in my ass was very awkward.
You see, but that's the fun stuff. I also heard a random noise.
No, sorry, it's my cat, and I don't know what he's doing. I think he hurt his tooth. I need to take him to the vet again sometime to get a checkup because he had gingivitis in his teeth or something like that. So I need to get it checked. Otherwise, my cat could die when we just talking about it like it's normal.
Anyway, should we continue? All right. Well, we just spoke about someone cutting their pay, right? Old Bobby. Shame he's one of us now. The same is not of to be said about CD Projekt Red executives who are all getting large bonuses, and the people who actually worked in the game are not. Because fuck them, I guess.
No,
the games?
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. That is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
No, like territory.
I know.
That's business as usual.
The thing
There's
is,
a reason why.
The thing is that these were also promised bonuses that did not come.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly normal.
And that's fucked up.
No, it's not. It's because it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'm a leader of a political movement and I decide that I should get more money than the people that are doing the moving. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving the couch.
No, like pushing the movement forward.
Yeah. But this is why we need to embrace Marxism.
No, we don't. We don't.
Kill the billionaires, take their money, turn Buckingham Palace into public housing.
The problem I have is that you can't actually even think about that, just because it's never going to happen. It's never going to...
Unless we have our great revolution.
Your great revolution.
And take over, like the Russians did in 1917 in the October Revolution, which funny enough happened in November. Just a fun fact. It was the 6th of November, I think. Don't know why it's called the October Revolution.
Jeez.
Never looked it up, which I probably should have, but I never, because I teach it.
No. Like for me, I don't think Marxism is right. Nor is capitalism, of course. I genuinely think that the problem that needs to be fixed here isn't the is it a social system or whatever, a governmental system?
Well, what exactly are you talking about?
Capitalism and all of those.
Economic system.
There we go. I don't think that needs to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know me, the core problem is greed. Because no matter what you have, there's always going to be somebody that wants a little bit more.
True. But you know what we should probably do? We should probably, at some point, save this for our politics cast. And one day we'll have a politics cast and piss off every single gamer because they don't want to believe that politics exists.
No, I would just build a game that will... What I'll do is I'll build a economy simulator.
Mm-hmm.
And your job is to make the perfect economy. And you're going to have to use things to balance it out. Like, if you go to capitalist, you're going to get greedy people. If you go to communist, you're going to get greedy people. So your whole point is to try to make the perfect economy, society, and country.
If you're kind of looking in between them, you're often looking at socialism.
No. It's going to be a game where you need to try and balance everything to get a perfect score.
But then what you'd be called, which is often seen in my disgusting left-wing circles, as a centrist, which is a bad thing. It's because people attack you. Because you're on the fence. You don't want to commit to one side.
But hear me out here.
Yes.
I'm not offenses.
Offenses? I'm fine with fences existing. I just don't want them on the TV.
Okay, I'm fine sitting on the fence. Because I'm not actually sitting on the fence. Because there's not a left side and a right side for me. I'm going to go over there. I'm not on your property, and I'm not on their property. I'm going to go.
So you're just going to live on the fence?
No. Because there can't just be one border.
Except that they are.
Because people like to think that there's a big contrast left or right.
Yeah, well,
I like to think that there's a solution, and what should happen is the fence should be removed, the side should fight to the death, and then the survivor gets the whole land.
See, but the person who's going to... So say, for instance, if that was in like America, where they were like, all the right-wing people and all the left-wing people are going to fight, the ones who own all the guns are the right-wing people, because it's the United States. So they will win through just murder.
And it's worked so far.
I don't think like Native Americans would agree.
Huh?
That their entire culture was like destroyed.
Yeah, but you know what's funny about that whole situation? Mm-hmm. About Americans calling themselves natives, whereas they massacred the original natives.
Yes.
My thing is this: you lost. I've spoken about this before.
You spoke about this to me, but this should probably be left for our politic cast. which at some point would actually be really funny to do. I think it'd be very fun. We'd go all out.
But then we need to have a guest.
Yes. I already know the guest. It would be fun.
Yes.
But we should probably continue with our final point.
Yes.
So this is the final news story today. Humble Bundle. So you know Humble Bundle,
Yes.
right? Now the point of Humble Bundle when it was first formed was that it's for charity. That's what it's supposed to be for. You could have sliders in it to choose the percentage that's going to who. You could say, basically, how much of it you want to go to the devs of the games, how much you want to go to Humble Bundle itself, and how much you want to go to the charity. Sometimes people would waive like for instance, I remember a Rockstar one, they didn't want to take anything for themselves, they wanted it all to go to charity. So you could select how much goes to Humble Bundle, how much goes to the charity. So, Humble Bundle has now decided to change its thing, and you can only go up to 15% for charity. Even though the point of it was that it was all supposed to go to charity. That's kind of the original
Greed
point of Humble Bundle.
Greed.
Also, guess who Humble Bundle's owned by? They used to be independent. They're owned by IGN. So it's straight up just another storefront now.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a Steam. It's an Epic Game Store. The thing that made it a really good thing, that it was for charity, is no longer there. And I've seen lots of people like online being like, that was like the point of using Humble Bundle, that like it goes to charity. That's the point.
I straight up don't believe in any charity where any member of the charity profits from the charity.
Well, it depends on what you, because like for instance, okay, profits is a good word there, because if say people who run the charity get a salary so that they can live. That's not profit.
No.
Yeah.
The thing is, say for instance, if you are a charity trying to fight homelessness,
yes,
you don't have to. I don't expect everybody to be homeless to be working for the charity.
Yeah.
I do expect them to value living, in the sense that I don't want to hear that the leader of some charity has bought their 4th mansion.
Yeah.
I want to know first of all, what if the leader lives a normal middle class life, and their goal is to get the homeless people to live a middle class life like them. Yes, I will then be happy with you. But if you are claiming that you're trying to get the homeless out as best you can while you are buying these multi-million-dollar homes, I don't believe in that. Even if it's like a charity against some medical condition, why are you making a profit? The whole thing was, we need money to pay the people who are on the front lines and to have enough money to buy stuff when needed, right? But why is it that whoever comes on has to have the biggest salary? It's almost like they start playing the football game where the players just go higher and higher and higher and higher, and you like eventually get to ludicrous amounts because people always are offering more money.
I do think that most charities are probably good.
No, good intentions. It's just that it's always what the upper level are doing that shock me.
Well, that's why not all charities are huge. I think that's the case maybe with like really big charities, but like most small charities, I think they're just doing their best to do whatever they're doing. Like you get charities that'll be like, for instance, here where we live, Tears, which is animal rescue,
which I believe in.
They're small. They have like a few shops, but it's all in this area. It literally doesn't cross the mountain.
It does.
How far does it go?
A big Tears in Grassy Park. A big Tears.
Okay.
That's the headquarters.
Okay, so then that's like as far as it goes then.
Yeah, it's
pretty much.
I think it's a Cape Town thing.
Yeah, but it doesn't go to Joburg. It doesn't cross out of Cape Town, kind of thing.
But I can still respect, because the thing is, there I look at it as, I don't expect the people working for the charity to be like to give all their money to it. I expect them to do their job with enough expenses to live their life. Yeah. Right? But how can you promote wanting to help people, right, when you demand a lifestyle that's counter that? Yeah,
no, definitely. I think well, that's what often when, for instance, you find certain billionaires and such having their own charities, because it's sometimes for tax purposes, for instance.
Jeff.
Donald.
I think Gates is the only one where I can just look at it and just go, wow, man, you...
I don't know, like...
The Gates, I'm talking about now Bill and his wife. They are something else.
Lately, they've been doing some pretty horrible shit.
The thing is, I look at it and it's like, you see where they came from, and they would just chuck money at charities. Then they formed their own charity, and then you look at the stories coming out, and you're just like, wow.
But they also, they like started the whole charitable thing to deflect.
Yeah,
a bit from what they were. For instance, they also don't pay tax, kind of thing. It's a way of deflecting a lot of the time. This is always one of the shitty things about charity in general, is that what is the intention behind it? Because you can't tell that. That's the thing. You can't tell what the intention is a lot of the time. Like, do you genuinely know if someone's a good person or if they're just doing it for clout? It's difficult.
Or for profit.
Or for profit.
Because if you think about it, like, I want to start a religion because if it gets big enough, I get rich.
See, but
I want to start a charity.
Now, see, here's the problem, though. You shouldn't have just said that on a recorded medium. Because that will come back to bite you in your ass. I think it's fraud.
No, but that's the funny thing is I would never start a religion.
Yeah.
I do not have enough.
You're not L. Ron Hubbard.
No. I'm just not. I'm just not. I'm lazy. I don't have that much.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I can't stand when you put money into something. Like, for instance, let's talk about games now, right? Pre-orders, right? The idea was you buy the game now to help finance the game to the very end. And I can understand why if you pre-order and the company already makes their target in pre-orders, they don't actually need to finish the game to know that they've done it. And that kind of thinking is what destroys my belief in charity or paying forward. Because obviously, if I reach a point where I need to support from a charity, I'm going to be like, well, I need your help, give me money or whatever, or I need help, how do I go about accessing this charity support? I don't want to know that people are paying for it. So for me, I will pay for charity, or for this instance with games, I would pay for a pre-order now and then. Not because I want you to make your target market, it's because I want to know I'm getting the product. So if I pay charity, I'm not paying charity because I care about those people. I'm sorry, I'm an asshole. I'm paying charity in case I ever get into that situation and know that what I paid forward is going to come back to me. And if my paying forward happens to benefit other people, I don't mind it.
Well, you can't say that about animal shelters.
I can.
Because that'll never come back to you.
I can. My cat, I just mentioned gingivitis. There was no vet open, and he wasn't eating, and he wasn't doing anything. He was running about, constantly in a panic, and we got worried. And we reached out to Tears. We took him to Tears. They did a whole thing on him, and they just determined, okay, there's a problem. They gave him an antibiotic shot, and the infection went away. And now I only buy food from Tears through their shop is a bit more pricey, but I'm paying it back because I don't know when next I'm going to need that emergency service.
But it's kind of this is actually quite funny. If we were to continue talking about this kind of goes into ethics and the philosophy of morality.
But that's why I want to make a game based on that.
That would be interesting. But yeah, because the idea of sort of that there is consequences to it, like you are helping to eventually maybe get something back as kind of a karmatic thing, like karma in a sense.
Charity tycoon. Make your own charity. You know, like game dev simulator.
Probably exists.
Charity tycoon. Create a charity and try to. Basically, the goal is to get as rich as possible while still providing the minimum that you can.
Well, do you know that, like, for instance, there are lots and lots of non-profit hospitals in the United States. They still make a good profit, but the whole non-profit thing means that they're tax exempt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but the US has got a very big tax problem. Here we don't actually have much of a tax problem.
We have a small tax-paying population.
That's what I'm saying. We don't have a tax problem.
Yeah.
We just have people that don't pay tax.
Yeah, because they're poor. And also people who just don't.
Yeah.
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 I know. Also, I like how this is explicitly political.
It's not. I'm trying
political.
to tell you, I want to make a game based on this system.
But you want to make a game about politics.
Yes.
Yes, which is still political, which some people will then whine about. They'll be like, how dare you talk about politics? My games have no politics in them. BioShock? Spec Ops The Line? Do these have politics in them? This is genuinely what people...
Dishonored?
Dishonored, there's no politics in it. I genuinely did see a picture of a thing where it said great games that have politics and like bad games. No, great games that like don't have politics and bad games that have politics. And the ones that have politics are things like the new Tomb Raider. I don't know anyone that has a female protagonist or a gay character. Those are the bad politics. And then it has like Spec Ops The Line and BioShock and Call of Duty. And you're like, you mean all the games about politics? Like war is politics.
Yeah. and it's funny because the politics is simply one side versus the other side in beliefs or in legislation or whatever.
Everything is political.
But the thing is, I don't mind if you decide to be PC and diversify the cast of a game. I don't mind that, because if a character is gay because he just happens or she just happens or it just happens to be of that orientation, I don't mind. It adds a little bit of depth to them. What I do mind is when that becomes their personality.
The thing is, yes, I understand, but that's often a thing of people, for instance, who don't know how to write a gay character, who they're like, okay, we're going to make a gay character, and that's their character.
So the writer's like is busy like, hey, how do you like this? And they go, the publisher goes, main character should be female, but also bisexual, but mainly lesbian, and should identify as a dolphin. The writer will go, okay, I'll try my best, even though I set up the story fine, and they will go about rewriting it.
I don't think there are many games that do fall into that, because if you were to be like, okay, games that are like, say, PC, people always say PC means, okay, other than personal computer, I mean the politically correct one. Yeah. It's horrible to talk about PC versus PC.
I see what you did there. The correct one. I'm going to point that out.
With like that, where they'll be like, oh, it's got a female character. There's lots of things that are female characters and they're half the population. You know, just because they're a woman doesn't mean, and then they can be. A woman have been in games for ages. Lara Croft, Metroid. The extremely dick envious woman from Bulletstorm. Who shouts dick all the time.
Bayonetta.
But the thing is, a lot of the time, women are portrayed in a bit more of a sexualized way. Lara Croft has big titties. Bayonetta is explicitly kinky. Mm-hmm. Like the whole thing is kink.
Mm-hmm. But what you need to understand from that time is that who were playing and buying video games?
Well, the population, I don't know, with console gamers have been roughly 50-50 for quite a long time. So, and a lot of these games aren't like new, aren't old,
What's even worse is that I don't know if it's the same for games, but I find myself wondering, like, when it comes to like show fan service or game fan service, mostly in games people expect a greasy, partially bald man typing in a computer, jacking off to what's that anime music? I don't know. The
anime music.
Yeah,
J-pop?
No. I'm talking about like what's that?
Oh, the
yes.
The hologram person.
No, not well, basically they think it's a male making a game. Yeah. And that was the same thing when it came to porn.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
Yeah.
A lot of the more kinkier stuff is written or directed by females.
Yeah.
And people have this assumption that if it's perverted, it's made by a male. Now, when it comes to the sexualizing of a game character back then, it was a male. Why? Because it was assumed that only males played video games and that was their target audience. Now people have learned that there are other targets.
Yeah.
And you could say that female, like, oh yeah, back then female leads were overly sexualized. I tell you what, 90% of the games that come out which has an option between male and female, a female is going to be chosen. And it's brilliant. One of my friends, when I asked him, because I'm the type of person that likes to portray myself.
Yeah.
Okay. But when I asked my friend, why does he always want to play a female? Is he inclined to that? And he said, no. The only reason why he chooses to play a female is because, especially if it's a third-person game, is he's going to have to look at something the whole time. And he would rather look at something appealing to him rather than watching a guy run around. And I was thinking, okay, well, I can see why the whole male fantasy in video games was such a big thing. Like when you thought of video games, you thought, oh no, it's very guy-oriented. They got women in skimpy things. Metal Gear. They've got one of the most popular games was what, Dead or Alive?
Yes.
So it's like I understand that's what they were gunning for, but I mean, if you try to compare movies with the female lead, they're not going to put an ugly female lead into a movie, even if it has nothing to do with trying to sexualize her.
Well, there are lots of movies that don't have particularly sexy women.
But those movies are not
They're usually good movies.
No. I'm talking about those movies won't be seen as being appealing to males.
Mm.
But at the same time, the reason why the women are unattractive is because it fits the premise of the story or the character itself. I'm talking about they wouldn't unnecessarily put in an ugly person into movies. In general, I mean, there are some singers that get told you can't be a singer because you're not attractive enough. You may have a good voice, but you're not attractive enough.
Yeah.
So, male or female. That's how it works. Visually, you're not going to put an ugly person into your game because it might deter people from looking at it. Unless your objective is that feeling. You know? For instance, let's look at a game like... Well, what's one of those games where every character is this amazing, fucking beautiful person?
Well, Dead or Alive is pretty much one of those.
No, but that's intentional, Doug. That's I'm talking about a game where they don't actually have ugly people unless they're meant to be ugly. Like The Witcher.
Well, yeah.
The Witcher 3, even the peasants, they're not as ugly.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, those kind of things are just because that's how people sort of perceive it's supposed to be. Where like for instance, you'll get like a game set in like the regular world and everyone looks conventionally attractive, when actually most people in the world in real life are not.
Or just the extras on a Pixar Disney movie.
Yeah.
They're not ugly. They're slightly more attractive than average. But
also in real life, how many people are truly ugly? Like, it's a relatively small number. Most people just look average.
Yeah, or they have a feature that you don't like personally.
Yeah.
So
which isn't, yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say is, back to this, that, females were portrayed over-sexualized, but at the same time, it was the audience at the time.
Yeah, although that is also an audience that they believe there was, and so they catered to it. That's also a thing that does happen. We're like, I think that's going to be the audience, and so that is what I will just put in, even though that might not actually be the audience. Also,
what I like about it is that they complain about, oh no, by putting this character skimpy, perfect body in, you're setting a standard that women cannot reach. Men are disgusting, you know? So those female magazines and female-made products do the exact same thing.
That's the thing. They're also part of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. And also, most of them would also agree.
Yeah, like...
those things make them feel like shit. But that's like the shitty thing, is that kind of everything around us makes everyone feel like shit. Because it's the same with male characters. Male characters tend to be conventionally attractive, probably quite fit looking, muscular, what have you. And so that's an image you're supposed to aspire to, which is also damaging. But I think it's just less. For instance, there'll be like a bum shot or a tit shot in movies. There won't be a crotch shot on a man to show his nice bulge.
That's offensive. Unless you're Willem Dafoe. Then they'll just have to CG out your bulge because it's just too big.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny how fan service will work, right? And it's like when you see a topless guy, you're like, okay, you would think, oh well, it's just a guy without a top. When you see a man's ass, it's normally like hilarious, or it's either a sexy ass or a funny ass, right? Yeah. But obviously, the bulge is too offensive unless he's supposed to be more sexy. Like if it's a romantic comedy and you see a man bulge, or just a bulge in general, you'd be like, okay, he's packing.
But then that's the thing. To like, it would be seen as offensive, but maybe to like a woman seeing old tit shots would be offensive. So
I don't find it offensive though.
No, but you're not a woman. So like a crotch shots, they should be there, and men should get the fuck over themselves because everybody has a cock.
No, but I'm saying I don't get it. If I see what's it playing Saints Row. Because I haven't played Cyberpunk, so I know there's a modifier in there, but Saints Row also had a modifier,
which was just called sex appeal.
Yes, and I found it funny, and I wasn't like, oh my god, or like when your guy is naked and inside the sex mansion. No, and you're like, I didn't find that like, oh my god, he's
but like one of the things I think is like, say with like Saints Row, there was a sex appeal thing on a man and a woman. And with sex appeal on a woman, if you increase it, the breast size increased. And if you increase it for a man, the bulge size increased. Yeah. And like both of those, you can be like, okay, they have like an equality thing going there. Whereas like in a lot of things, it's just women with big tits. You don't really see men with bulges and such in. And also you get people, mostly men, whining about seeing penises and things because they're childish. Like in movies and stuff.
You mean to tell me that these guys spend hours on the internet looking at porn, and have a problem with penises?
Well, not that they do though. They do have a problem because you do get people who genuinely, like straight men, who only watch lesbian porn because they don't want to see a penis. That is a thing, and that is extremely insecure. Because also, because one of the things I think about this is because what you're actually admitting to is that you don't want to see a penis bigger than yours.
Yeah. Exactly. You don't want to feel it. And that's why, like, in games where people talk about over-sexualizing, it's like, I understand, but the one thing you have to understand about games is that it's a work of fiction. It's a work of somebody's imagination. And if it happens to be a game where women have big tits and it sells well in the male community, then you know what? It works. If you want a game where women are not over-sexualized, then you want a different type of game. What I'm trying to say is that over-sexualization of any gender should be allowed in the creative space.
Yeah, if you do sexualize them both equally.
No, not even equally. I'm saying this is a person's imagination and creativity. Not everything is a political statement.
Except that it kind of is.
It's not.
It is, because it's a subconscious political
If I want to clad my men in full plate and give my woman bikini armor, right? Yes. And you buying my game, you see women in bikini armor.
If you're buying it for that, yes. But like, say, for instance, the rest of us, like me, I get irritated at fan service because I think it's stupid. I'll be like, why don't they have full body armor as well? They would have full body armor.
And most games allow for full body armor. Yeah. How most games allow you to wear different the armor, no matter what gender you are.
Okay, but yes, to me, the distinguishing feature. Are you going to be honest about why you did it or not? Because Hideo Kojima, who makes Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding, when he made the last Metal Gear Solid game, there's a character called Quiet.
Yes, I've referred to.
Yes, and they're in Afghanistan in the fucking desert, and she has a bikini on. And
No. She breathes through her skin, man.
She breathes through her skin, which is fucking stupid.
No, that completely justifies the whole premise of the character.
Then, the guy who was in charge of Nier Automata, when they asked, why are your characters like quite sexualized, he was like, I like pretty girls. I'm like, fucking thank you for being an honest... Also, he wanted to make a porn afterwards. He was like, I want to make a porn film. I'm like, I've got respect for you.
Just be honest about it.
Be honest about it. Don't be like, oh no, it's part of the narrative. No, it isn't. You just want a titty lady.
What I don't like is when people say it doesn't set a healthy standard for expectations in the opposite gender. I'm like,
nothing does.
It's a fucking game. They are pushing what they feel they want to look at. I'm not. Yeah. It shouldn't be that because this game has only big-titted sexy women or man bulges galore with the most hunkiest hunks on the planet, that it should be oh no, they're setting an unrealistic... Of course it's a fucking unrealistic standard. It's a game.
But with all art, you can also depict things that aren't.
Do you know why people look at models?
I actually don't understand why people look at models.
Because it's a standard that
they want to aspire. Well, it's not even really necessarily what you aspire to. It's what society has said that you should aspire to, but you've heard it so much since you were a child that it's become internalized.
That too.
And so you think
that too.
Yeah.
But what I'm pushing is the same thing I said before. People like looking at good-looking people.
Yeah.
And you're gonna tell me that that you want to shit on a video game that has a sexualized woman, but then you look at what's going on in real life, at these models, the whole plastic surgery thing, and you want shit on that because it's their choice.
Well, most people will shit on that as well. It depends on who's doing the shitting.
Okay, fair enough.
That's
basically what I'm trying to say is, if I release a game with big-titted women, which I won't because I'm an ass person, but if I did, right, I'm talking about not just the men and women will be thick in that game, but if I did, right, I don't want it to be seen as I'm putting an unrealistic standard, because if you ask me why'd you do it, I'll be like, because I like it thick.
Well, then you should also have some appreciation for instance, in something like Dark Souls, where every single character face and what have you can choose from all look fuck ugly. Everyone looks fucking hideous in Dark Souls games. Also, in like every Bethesda thing, they all look bad.
No. They were fine, but that Fallout 3 and New Vegas face thing, nightmare fuel. I mean, Oblivion was fucking funny because it was putty face, but Fallout just creeped me the fuck out. And then obviously they fixed that, but
by the way, I think we've gone on like a 40-minute rant about
no, but
sexism.
No, but it's within games. I'm just saying that I don't care if you sexualize people in a fictional content. If you had to go up and tell women or tell men that this is what you're supposed to look like, right? Like ads do, then I've got a problem. But if you're somebody that has a general idea of what you want in your creation, let them have it. If they're not honest about it because they're worried about society and repercussions, fine. If you're able to be honest about it, that will benefit you.
I think you should just be honest about it.
And if they ask, why do you only have a certain type of person?
Yeah. Well, you see, but this is why, for instance, some industries...
I'll make a whole game based on Aryans.
Some...
Just fuck it right there.
It would be great. You should be like, yes, I'm not a white person. I'm going to make a game all about this.
And they will all be Hindus. And I won't give a fuck. And people go, no, that's not right. I'll say, you know what? It's a work of fiction.
Yeah. Well, this is... Okay, the whole work of fictioning is what actually makes me laugh a lot about. You get people... I had people saying this to me when in the Witcher series, the Netflix series, she is... Oh, fuck, what is her name? The main...
You just said a Netflix series.
Yennefer.
Oh, The Witcher.
Yes, The Witcher.
Yes.
I said The Witcher earlier. And I said
Oh no,
Netflix.
I wasn't
Okay.
paying attention.
Terrible.
It was on my mind.
What?
Ass and titties. I'm sorry, but it's.
So-
I was trying to weigh up. Yes, I'm more of an ass person, but yeah,
okay.
let me.
So anyway, there were people who are whiny about the Netflix adaptation that like Yennefer was not a white person because she isn't actually white, and the immediate thing, and there's also like there are people in that who are not all white. People are like, oh, it's Scandinavian, because it's Polish, and then to all of those people, you just have to go, okay, but listen,
Does it change
it's
anything?
a fantasy fucking story. It's not Earth. Who cares what
If it's
what,
not
like,
based on real life, I think that you have free liberty to do what you want.
Although even then, I think you can fuck with things because, like for instance, you can do something like the Hamilton production, the Broadway play Hamilton. Hamilton was a white person, and he's played by not a white person in the theatrical production. And I'm like, yeah, it's like a commentary on that. So then I'm like, even then, fuck it. I think the only time in which
I think the only reason why he was white is because Shakespeare, when you
Hamilton's not Shakespeare.
No, but I know, but I'm trying to say I'm using Shakespeare as an example here.
Yeah.
Right. Shakespeare, when he wrote his stories, his influences and his surroundings, he was surrounded by the white people.
Yeah. Although
there wasn't.
Othello is black though.
Yes, but that just proves that his influence was from that situation.
Yeah.
Now, any writer who decides to put a certain race in is just working on their own.
Yeah.
That's why if you're going to adapt it and the race, gender is not the defining thing of the character, I think you should have
do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it made sense and still stuck, if the story could work with it or without it, then you can free the liberties.
That's why, like, to me, I'm like, for instance, something like American History X. It's about white supremacy. The main character cannot be black. It's about a white supremacist. Unless
he's what's that character from Dave Chappelle show? It's some I have to show you this sometime. He portrays a blind man who is a KKK member, and he's black. And the thing is, he doesn't know he's black. So he just thinks he's a white man, and it's hilarious because even back then it was a play on the whole ridiculousness of it, and that's what I'm trying to say. Is like, yes, a white supremacist is going to be white because that's what people expect, but a lot of the time people like there are black KKK members.
Yeah, they are like, you'll get like black people who are anti-black racists. They exist. But like if you're making a story like about a white power clan, you can't make him black.
You can't make him black.
It would also be like, say for instance, having a movie about pregnancy. It's got to be a woman who's,
It actually depends. My thing is this: if it's about pregnancy in the modern day, yes. Okay. However, if you have to do again, once you take it into fiction, it can be whatever. If you want a male protagonist getting pregnant, you can develop a whole story on how that happened.
Yeah. But if you were making like a movie that's say about real life human people, let's say like a story about an actual person who was alive, who was like a mother, they should probably be played by a woman.
A woman.
Yeah.
Now, that's enough. Yeah. Now, it doesn't matter what race or what the woman looked like.
Unless it's like a biopic.
True. Yeah. But I'm more thinking of in terms of if it doesn't affect the story, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, me too.
If you're gonna butcher the story because you're scared of showing a woman that is weak in a society of strong men, and you're gonna butcher that to make her impervious, then that is destroying the story. Now, if you had to take the same growth that a male character would have and just put a woman in there, and it doesn't affect the story, then there's no reason to have that character as male.
And you want to know something quite funny? This is like a thing I've actually thought about a lot, and it's something I plan on making a video about at some point. So it's good to see it. You've also thought about it before. Just being like, no, fuck, doesn't matter who it is, unless it's actually specific to the thing.
That's why I liked the way the Mass Effect era of RPGs went. You could be male or female. Yeah, some characters wouldn't respond to your flirting or
sexual advances. Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't matter, because at the end of the day, whether you were male or female didn't matter. Whether you were the hero for Alden was male or female doesn't matter. The fact is, the story's about the hero,
Yeah.
or the story's about Shepard, or the story's about the blah 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 blah. What's his I'm thinking KotOR now.
The main guy, person from KotOR.
Yeah, yes.
Revan.
Yes. It seriously doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it doesn't affect the story. So whether the character looks like a certain way, if you want to be if you want to be offended by things that don't matter to the story, you're more than welcome to do so. But just remember, it's a work of fiction, and if most people don't want to watch it because I put man bulge all over my game, and most of the camera shots are below the belt when they're talking, right? And you're a guy or you're a woman that goes, I don't want to look at that.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Because I won't make a game for profit. I'll make a game to get what I want out there. So
no, definitely. I think it is also a situation which could probably be a interesting as discussion as its own podcast. Because we're approaching the 3-hour mark.
It's been a while since we've been together, so
yes.
Yeah, that's that.
So do you think maybe
we
should tie it up here?
Yes, let's tie it up.
You know what? This one could just be called Lots of Rants. Because we had lots of tangents. We broke off all the time talking about other shit.
Tangenuity. I like it.
Alright, so should we say ta-ta?
Yes, of course.
Alright, so would you like to say goodbye? Or should I say it first?
Do you want me to steal your line?
Okay, fine. Which line? No, not my final line. How dare you? Don't even think about that. No, would you like to plug anything? Good Tristanimus?
Oh, no. Like I said, I'm starting a development of a prototype for a game that I'm hoping to get onto a Patreon page soon.
That should be cool.
And see how it goes. If anything comes of it, I will definitely plug it in later episodes. That's my goal. I hope you guys like RPG dungeon crawler-esque games. If not, I hope you play it anyway, because I don't care. I just need the ratings. You can even write crap reviews. I don't mind, so long as you just play it. I need recognition, not satisfaction at this point.
Anyway, so then that's the good old Tristan. On my side, all the usual shit. I just did my video about San Andreas, which I know is...
Well, more nostalgia than...
Yes, more about nostalgia.
Featuring San Andreas.
Yeah, featuring San Andreas, which, as we all know, is Tristan's favourite game of all time. He loves San Andreas. That's why he keeps on talking shit about it. Whenever he can try and be passive-aggressive about it. Little bitch.
I'm just saying, trash is trash.
Trash is trash. But, looking back, yeah, kind of. The music is still great.
The thing is, there were great things about it. Guys, please check out his video. It's actually, I'm not the biggest fan of San Andreas, but he is right when he tries to compare it with nostalgia, and I think you will all come to the same agreement that what was great in the past can also be very bad now. I mean, you can agree that some people just happen to notice the trash way before even the nostalgia.
Definitely. So that's yes on my channel, LC Lupus. And then Twitter, LC_Lupus, where I talk shit about things. Usually being mean about video games or politics. Or just being mean in general. Twitter's a hellscape. It's great. I love Twitter. Also,
don't forget to also catch him on Instagram.
Oh god. I am technically on Instagram. I think it's also LC_Lupus. Where I mostly post pictures of my dog and my girlfriend's cats.
So if you like pictures of animals...
Exactly, which is very different to my other content. There's video game analysis on one hand, talking shit about the industry on the other, and animal pictures. Also, random signs. I like taking pictures of things that look funny. Like a sign that'll be at the airport that says, "Why is there no ice cream?" This is a genuine sign I saw at the airport. And I still don't know what it was advertising. It was for like a hedge fund or something. And I was like, what is ice cream? Okay, I'm just going to take a picture of this. Or the best one I ever took, and my caption was the perfect thing. So, church near where I live, they always have like a chalkboard, and they write random ass messages on it. And it said in big bold, "Read the Bible," and my comment at the bottom just said, "No." Incidentally, I am not reading the Bible. They got to me eventually.
So really, guys, go check him out. Really great content on YouTube. That is LC Lupus.
Oh yes, he's beautiful. He's a beautiful man with long hair and a beard and a gorgeous voice with his dulcet tones that'll make you. Maybe I should do like ASMR.
No.
I know you want that, bitch.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for tuning into this podcast. This has been the 2 Cent Report, although we've been Political Report. And, don't forget, we are still the Poverty Cast.
Well, the Poverty Cast.
So don't expect any high-quality stuff from us just yet.
Never.
Ever.
Don't just say yet. Never.
Never.
One day we'll have like those 4,000 rand mics, and we'll still somehow manage to make some shit.
No, we'll get an app that will help us do that.
Yes,
quality control is very important.
Yes, the app will add in the static.
Yes.
It's always there.
I'll have so much money. I'll purchase stock sound to put in the background to create static and other.
Or just like random noises that no one can explain. We'll constantly have a dog barking in the background as we talk about something serious.
Yeah, just to keep you guys on that level,
Exactly.
Because we are also multi-millionaires that now have to deal with under $1 million salaries. So.
Yeah, I got it's
poverty is hard.
Tristan, I had to trade in my gold plated. All right, peoples, have an absolutely wonderful time, or don't.
Yeah, do whatever the fuck you want.
No, it's not up to me. I mean, if you hate life, it makes sense. God doesn't exist.
Well, he doesn't exist to keep you happy.
No, he doesn't.
You must exist to keep him happy.
He's got his own shit going on. He has a podcast. He's just fucking plodding along on his own. He's got shit to do. I mean, he just started watching The Good Place, and he's been wondering ever since, shouldn't he have just made the whole system like that? But, he's a strange guy, God. Sometimes we chat, but he doesn't like my opinions on the Bible.
Of course not.
Because, it's his magnum opus, and he doesn't like people being mean about it.
It's
like his catch-22. He worked really hard on it. It took him 8 years to write the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
His years.
8 of his years.
8 of his years, which we can't even comprehend.
Because, yeah. Okay. If you haven't signed off just yet, take care, guys. This has been the Poverty Cast, yes. AKA the 2 Cent Report. And just know that once said Justin really, really, really loves you.
I do.
I stole your line.
He did steal my line.
Goodbye.
I love you.